Hello, chat. How y'all doing today? Hi. Hope we're all having ourselves a grand old time. It is a Monday. We're playing The Roottrees Are Dead today. I'm so excited to get into this. I see you got the first there, Lee. Good job, good job. But chat, this game, I've been wanting to play it for so goddamn long. Because this game originally was like a text-based game back on itch.io. And chat, I wanted to play it back then. And then, like, by the time that I was like, okay, I'm gonna play this personally. Or like, I forget if I was gonna play it, like, at the time that it came, like, on stream or not. And then, like, as I was doing that, they're like, oh, we're announcing that we're going to make this into a game with, like, you know, bigger, like, graphics and stuff. And it was like, oh, okay, I'll wait until that happened. And then, of course, I get into a bunch of other games that I have to play on stream that I want to do. Oh, boy, long story short, it's a year later since this game came out on Steam at the very least. With, like, its big ol'... It's got its cool graphics and stuff. I'm excited to play it. I've had to avoid this game for so long because it's been on my list for so long. I'm so excited. So many people that I watch have played it, I've had to avoid all of their videos and stuff. I'm doing authentic, I don't know shit about it. We're never gonna know. I'm gonna be stupid. Oh boy. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I love puzzles. I love puzzles. I love puzzles. It's, I love just seeing the, like, similar to games you've played and seeing two really good puzzle games, you know? Seeing Obra Dinn and Operator. Hello, Lev. Riddler's new nemesis. God. You know what? Sure. Fuck, what's the name of Stephanie Brown's dad? That's one of Riddler's nemeses. Aside from the obvious Batman, and also the Joker for that whole war thing that they did. The battle, I think it was called The Battle, could have been The War, I forget. The Riddles and Jokes thing. Quizmaster or some shit, that sounds about right. I just remember him as Stephanie Brown's cringe fail dad. You know? Boy, oh boy, let's see here. Let me pull up. Okay, I'm gonna look up Stephanie Brown. Here's the thing. I fucking hate the DC fandom wiki. Fandom wiki's pretty bad. I would like everything to have their own wiki page in general, but I understand that people don't do that for some of these things. I have like a fucking thing. I have a direct thing to an extension to redirect me from, like, if there is a wiki situation that is not a fandom wiki, it will redirect fandom links to those pages. There is not one, to my knowledge, or to the wiki extension thing that I have, one for either. The Marvel fandom wiki is great. The DC fandom wiki sucks. Let's see here. See, I look her up. The first link that pops up is her in the wrong universe. Every single time. Every single time. Whenever you look them up, it's wrong. It's fucking giving me the wrong one. It's giving me New Earth instead of Prime Earth. And of course, DC, I love it. Their way of naming the Earths is so bad. Marvel struck gold with their whole number system. DC doing the whole New Earth, Prime Earth, Earth Zero. God, calm the fuck down. What do you mean Prime Earth? And just, like, seeing, like, aliases, seeing New Earth on here is like, New Earth is a different thing. Like, come on. It's like, okay, Prime Earth, also known as Earth Zero, that's what we're currently in. OG Earth, we swear for real this time, yeah, it's like Earth Final, in parentheses 1.exe. You know, it's fucking, Clue Master is her dad's name. Her dad's name is Clue Master, that's it. Oh, God. Oh, she's the same height as me. That's fun. Why does she weigh less than me? Girl! I'm scrawny as fuck, and you kick ass. Why do you weigh less than me at the same height? Girl, I'm like a skeleton. You should have muscles. I'm literally the type of person to look in the mirror and go, yes, looks like Doug Jones. You know? Like, Stephanie! You are a Batgirl! Come on! I'm clinically thin, yeah! Every time I go to the doctor, they're like, okay, please try harder. And I'm like, I'm trying! Oh boy. You were in a VC the other night, we were all insulting Psylocke's designs from the 80s. Oh god, Psylocke. What a character to, like, learn about, like, after the fact, you know? Of being like, people really like this one. What's up with her? And then looking at it, I'm like, whoa. Looking at her and just being like, what do you mean race swap? What do you mean that she was a white girl, but she was a white girl in the body of, I forget what specifically Kwanon is. 'Cause, is she Japanese or is she... Yeah, she is Japanese. So just like, okay, white girl in the body of a Japanese girl, but they swapped back. They swapped back now, and they let the Japanese girl keep the Psylocke name, and I love that for her. What's this Outback look y'all are talking about? Do I need to look this up? Let's see here. Psylocke Outback. Let's see here. Am I looking at the correct character? What is this? Why does she look like... If this is the correct thing, she looks like she's one of Magneto's kids. Is this... Might be. It's less sexual, but it's still startlingly sexual for her actually being covered up for the first time ever. I get that. I just look at her, I'm like, why is she like... She just looks like Magneto to me. You know? This looks like Scarlet Witch got tired of her own shtick and was like, I'm going to be Magneto now, you know? That's what she looks like to me. This is just strange. She's a weird character. I don't get her. She's a strange person. I really don't understand the appeal of her, though I assume the appeal of her is mostly to people who are just thinking that she's hot. I don't know if... Now, I'm sorry if she's really a compelling character, but I've never heard anything about her other than that she's hot, and that she was... I don't want to say race-faking for a while, but you know... weird things happening there. Let's see here. Beep bop boop. Oh yes, I have my birthday list, For being adapted, oh right, yeah, into Wolverine and the X-Men made me go and save. Somehow in 2009. Yeah, me and Lee finished Wolverine and the X-Men. I forget if we've said that at this point. It was not good. It was not good. And I'm glad that we're done with it. We didn't really like Evolution either. I would personally say Wolverine and the X-Men was worse, you know? Like, it did have its moments of, like, filling me with just disgust and such, but overall it was much more boring than Evolution was, and that's a bigger crime to me, you know? Like, it wasn't even boring, and, like, it wasn't even atrocious, you know? It was, like, doing bad stuff, and then it would be like, okay, but I don't care. Evolution had Toad. That's so true. Evolution had the Brotherhood, who they, like, knocked out of the park, especially with Toad. They made a rap for Toad. The X-Men character Toad, who you may know as that little guy that Magneto has as, like, a weird little henchman sometimes. That guy? They gave him a rap. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I have the list of birthdays. Todd Tolensky, right? Yeah, they changed his name to that. Okay. February 21st, I'll go ahead and start with. That would have been this last Saturday. Hitori Goto from Bocchi the Rock. I love Bocchi the Rock. And then... also Cecil from Dungeon Meshi. Hee. As well as Avatar The Last Airbender. I should have given that more gravitas, I just wasn't expecting to see it on February 21st there. Avatar The Last Airbender, the TV show, not the movie. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, good series. One of those ones that I, like, only watched as an adult because I missed it when I was a kid. I was too busy watching other stuff, you know? Really shaping my personality by watching every single episode of Adventure Time, you know? But let's see here. On February 22nd, I have to double check who this character is. I mostly just remember the main characters by name, but for Skate the Infinity, Mia Chinen! Yes! Oh my god, I love this guy's design. Well, his skateboarder design. When I look him up, the first image I see of him is as his, like, middle school uniform, and he's, like, unrecognizable in that. I'm like, where is your bright neon green hoodie with cat ears? Why aren't you wearing the most atrocious thing? Come on. Big day for cats as well, continuing on there, simply because this guy's name has Neko in it and no other things. There's not a lot of cat theming otherwise. Nekomaru Nidai from Danganronpa's birthday was yesterday as well. Gamer, your brain damage! Put on the cat ears! God, that was such a stupid... They really didn't need to explain that accessory. You don't need to explain a character's accessory. It's like, if you want to, you can, but it better be a good-ass explanation and not, oh yeah, it was helping me with, that. It's like, what are you talking about? I hope she was fucking with us about that. I do as well. I agree. We also yesterday had, a Vocaloid who I'm not familiar with by name. Let's look them up and let's see how I feel. It is Mirai Komachi. Mirai Komachi is the name of this Vocaloid. Let's look you up. Once again, you're cute. Every time I look up a Vocaloid who I don't know, I'm like, okay, you are really cute though. You are an orange. I know that people say that Kagamine Rin is an orange. I disagree. This person is an orange. You know? I really feel like Rin is only an orange because Len is so obviously a banana, and they were like, well, we need to give her something else, you know? They were just like, we're gonna be assigning weird foods and stuff to everybody. But obviously Len is a banana. His hair is shaped like a banana. What about Rin? What yellow things also exist? Well, I can't think of any. Let's go for an orange. And then also Mick Bell from Dungeon Meshi. I guess let me double check. I believe that this is that union busting halfling. What the fuck is music happening? How dare you? Go back to Sans Undertale. What about Lemon? Well, this was like... the late 2000s, early 2010s, the word lemon had an entirely different connotation on the internet back then, so I can understand wanting to avoid that. You know? And I feel like, you know, lemons, I do have associations with each other. Now, granted, bananas and oranges aren't really a common combo. But I feel like, you know, lemons have, like, lemon and lime, or, like, lemon and orange, something like that. But, you know, bananas don't really have anything that they go with. I don't know why they did that. I do appreciate that it does mean whenever people draw, like, the Krypton Vocaloids, they tend to, like, push Rin a little more into orange so that we get, like, a full rainbow happening. But other than that, it's like, one of those things. And you're like, yes, okay, Mick is the Dungeon Meshi character I thought they were. Little fuck ass. Anti-union freak. Alright, and then today, chat, our last birthday here for today, we only have the one, but it is a media release. It is Pinocchio, the 1940 Disney animation. Pinocchio. Happy birthday to little Pinocchio boy. I will pull up again. These are the list of the days of the year that we do not have any birthdays for. One of them is in 2 days. I'm focusing on other things right now, or else I would be looking that up. But, you know, I have deadlines for stuff coming up. I'm working on it. Once that's over, but I gotta... We'll see what happens. I'll see. Okay. I know I went to Anime Characters Database, and I was like, I don't know any of these people. I don't fucking know. I do plan on adding all of the Precure characters to the list, as well as all of, I think even like all the Sailor Moon characters, even though I haven't seen every Precure season, nor have I seen Sailor Moon. I feel like they can be on here. Percy Shelley was expelled from Oxford. I'm gonna be, as funny as that is, I don't know if that is significant enough to be put on there. Let's see here. On this day in history, we'll do one quick search, for the 25th of February. It's like, whoa, Queen Elizabeth I was excommunicated. Okay. I'm not gonna look at sports. Muhammad Ali won his first heavyweight boxing title. That's pretty cool. It's weird that the website I'm on says like Muhammad Ali, and then in brackets says the name. I don't want to say his dead name. Because I think it's one of those things where it's like when you're famous, you change your name for recognizability. It's weird seeing him referred to like that. In a way that I'm like, I can't say that. His name is Muhammad Ali. You know? I can't. I simply can't. Da-da-da-da-da. It's the birthday of the Pan American Games. A Little Light Music by Sondheim premieres. Yeah, I don't know if I care about any of these. None of these are great. Ba-ba-bum. Yeah. Alright. I'm giving up on that, and I'm going to go ahead and get into the game. Look, I put off this game long enough. I've been wanting to play it for so goddamn long. I want to play it. Sans, thank you for your beautiful music. I appreciate it very much. You may now take your leave. I don't have content warnings for this game. I don't know if it needs it. My apologies in advance if it does. I I've been avoiding stuff about this game. It's a puzzle game. It's called The Roottrees Are Dead. I'm assuming that there's death within this game. Of some sort, or at least talking about death after the fact. Post-mortem, if you want to be fancy about it. But we'll see what happens, you know? I do remember I pulled up Does the Dog Die? I quickly, glanced at my triggers, and none of them were even marked in the slightest. So... we'll see. Yum yum yum. Let's get gaming. Pulling it up here, turning the audio. Funky saxophone immediately. I turn... Da-da-da. I'm in the settings right now, give me a second. I'm gonna turn light strobing off. I'm gonna keep CRT monitor defects on, but light strobing is going to be off. Now join me in the game screen. I'm excited, chat. Come on, recognize that the game exists. Why are you mean? Come on. Video's game real. Maybe if I go into the settings and back. Bruh. Work with me here. Okay. Let me do this. This. There we go. That works. Alright, let's read this newspaper first. For the Butler County Times. Trusted for over 100 years. That's a lot of years. $1.50. Nice. Sunday, December 6th, 1998. Butler, Pennsylvania. Ba-ba-ba. Okay, I'm gonna... No, not credits. Sorry, I'll appreciate y'all when I get to it. I wanted to turn the audio a little bit quieter for the music here. Do a little bit like that. Okay, what happened? The plane crashed last night near Pittsburgh. The only passengers were Carl Roottree, his wife Brenda, and their 3 daughters, known as the Roottrees sisters. Carl Roottree was the president of the Roottrees Candy Company, and it's not clear who will succeed him. So far, local police are not sure what has caused the crash. They are calling it one of the most deadly plane crashes in Pennsylvania's history. I'm not sure... I was about to be like, I don't know too many plane crashes in Pennsylvania, and then I remember... Where was the 4th plane? Was that Pennsylvania? This is 1998. It wouldn't have happened yet. But wasn't that Pennsylvania, or am I misremembering? Anyway, Pittsburgh is generally known for pleasant flying conditions, and the weather was not atypical for this time of year. We do not know much at this time, but our sources tell us that local authorities do not suspect terrorism. The crash did not cause any local property damage, and fortunately nobody outside the plane was hurt. Funeral plans have not been announced, but you can be sure the Butler County Times will cover it to the best of our abilities. A spokesperson for the company has asked that people respect the families. Respect their what? Privacy or something, probably? Roottree mania. Well, now I'm intrigued even more than I was before. Loading. Come on. Come on. The Roottrees are loading. Come on. Let me in. Let me in. My impatient ass. Starting up. Let me in. Let me in. December 6th, 1998.
The plane that crashed last night just outside of Pittsburgh is now known to have been the private jet of the Roottree Corporation. Local aviation authorities have speculated, based on the pilot's final communication, that the winter storm and heavy winds played a significant role in the crash. On board were multiple family members, including corporate president Carl Roottree.
Hi,
and
Carl.
His daughters, the Roottrees sisters, best known for their fashion lines and modeling careers. There were no survivors.
Dang.
Again, for those of you just joining us, the Roottrees are dead.
That's the name of the game! Riot Girl, hell yeah. Mystery Comics.
I know it's late, but I'm guessing you've seen the news. In addition to dealing with the grief, the Roottrees Company's lawyers are scrambling.
Excuse you, I'm admiring my posters. Oh my god, is that my leather jacket? Hell yeah. Okay, anyway, continue.
Everything's about to change. Anyone proven to be a blood relative is about to get much richer. I'm here to ensure everyone is accounted for.
Have to be by blood, though. Can't be by marriage?
I've heard you're an expert at sorting out complicated family trees. A genealogy genie, as it were. I'm going to give you a quick test. Pass, and I can promise you the job of a lifetime.
You color me intrigued, bud. Complete the family tree of the Roottrees sisters. Siblings are in birth order, oldest to youngest. Examine my evidence, search internet for clues, fill in the names, fill in the occupations, fill in the photos. Sleuth! Okay, one of them had a spouse. Ooh! Duck. Oh, that's a hint. That's a hint. I'm not gonna... I was like, you haven't seen evidence. I was just like, it's a cute little duck! Currently playing music. That's cool. I'm gonna turn the main volume up and then, like, music volume a little down. I just want to be able to hear whenever they're talking to me. Granted, I can always turn my own personal volume down, but I have it, like... I always have it pretty low whenever I'm streaming so I can hear myself talk a little bit. What if I guessed? Damn. You don't have any portraits available to add to the family tree. To get started, click on Faces in your Evidence tab. Is this my Evidence tab? Okay, we have Family Tree, Evidence, PC, Home, Notebook, Hints. Okay. Well, obviously this one has stuff in it. Notebook. Okay. Okay, I was hoping that I would be able to write stuff down. Alright. I'm just doing a quick scan here. I don't think I need to say all this out loud, but you can read it yourself if you want. I'm glad that they have American school terms in here, and I'm glad that there is a notes. I was hoping that there would be, so I wouldn't have to do that in a way that you guys wouldn't be able to see. Oh, I'm allowed to, like, look around a little bit? At least a little bit. Okay, these are the... This is where I do. Show everything, show photo, show text. You wanted to look at my Riot Girl poster, and then we have... the notorious Montjoys. And then Mystery Comics here. Tales of Suspense. Oh, I'm so suspenseful. Alphabet Davis in the Erased Names of the Genesis. Alphabet Davis's Ends and Beginnings, a Young Alphabet Adventure. Family Doku. Alphabet Davis... Reversus. Alphabet Davis. Secret Searcher. Fun. You alright? Look at that little guy! I love that little guy. Okay. Okay. Computer. That's not true. Alright. Got milk picture and list of names. Look at the got milk picture. The person who hired you gave you this photo with a note attached. This was taken during the shoot for the Roottrees Sisters Got Milk ad. I added a question mark after ad as well. Whoops. I've tracked down a test photo from before they painted the fake mustaches on, which I thought would be more appropriate considering the circumstances. The ad's copy reads, "You might recognize our faces from the magazine you're reading, or you might recognize our name from the candy bar you're eating. Being a Roottree is a full-time job, but so is growing up. That's why the calcium found in milk is so important. Plus, you can't make chocolate without it." Alright, now technically I can like highlight stuff and then also put it in my notes. I don't think there's anything from this that I need, but we do have these 3 kids here. I mean, I don't know if they're kids. I genuinely can't tell if these are kids or teens or... no way they're in their 20s, right? How old are they? Whatever. I can barely tell them apart. But let's see here. What's our other thing here? This list was provided to you by the mysterious person who showed up at your door. You'll need it to fill in the family tree. Boy, oh boy. Okay, I think that this is going to be an excellent thing to, Can I not just, like, put all of this in my notes? There we go. That work? Paste? Yes! Okay, save notes. That is going to be excellent. Okay. Character names. I really like the font for the writing. Yes, okay. I guess I'll just leave this as names so that I can, see that easily. Alright, so we're looking at girls here. Because of, them being root trees. And, like, directly related here. So, it's likely going to be, one of these root tree girls. So we're just gonna copy this. We're gonna just take this for a sec. Save these root tree girls here, and we will look them up on our little computer. Welcome file here. Thank you for purchasing a new Cashew PC. Your PC is equipped with a 56K modem, which is fast enough to access any site on the World Wide Web, even those with high-resolution images. If you find anything interesting, be sure to print it out with your included high-end color laser printer, or burn a music CD to listen to later. If you want to revisit a search result, be sure to use the Netscape Explorer's new History feature. Happy surfing, and remember, Cashew PCs are delicious. Cashew PCs are inedible, but do not try to eat your computer. No notifications, no documents, printing. Okay, that's what those are. Oh boy. Uh-huh. I can be patient. I can be patient. Oh, we're connected here. Ah, okay. Spider search. Look at that fucking thing. You can create notes quickly by highlighting text with your mouse. Sorry, this text can't be highlighted. Trying to search result itself. Okay, but what about this? Fuck you. Alright. So I guess we'll start off... That's an E. I mean, we should probably look them up like this, right? Nothing relevant to your search was found for Candy Root Tree. Alright. Carly. You discover a trivia page that lists common trick questions. The answer to what are the first names of the famous Root Tree girls lists the answer Rhina, Carly, and Riley. The explanation below the answer states that Rose was originally born Carly Rose Roottree. Apparently, her parents had planned to name the son Carl Roottree Jr., but after finding out they were having a second daughter, they named her Carly. What do you mean Rose was originally born Carly Rose Roottree? Oh, so they're known as Rhina, Rose, and Riley, then. Okay. Well, we're gonna add that as a note in here, then. I think, let me just copy the men real quick. Am I allowed to do that? Let's see here. Can I just Control-C and Control-V? I did Control-X. Whoops. Da-da-da. Cancel. Okay. Da-da-da. Names. Edit. I want to copy the men. Control-C, Control V. There we go. There we go. Now they're, separated, and that's a bit easier to, work with. Okay, the men are on here twice now. Whoops. I'm gonna get used to this. I got it. Save note. There we go. Okay. This might also be a bit easier if I, like, separate them even further. This is truly just a stream of me formatting. Okay, we're gonna take everybody from R down. You take the men again. Copy. Delete note. Save note. Back over to this one of the women at the beginning here. Edit. Everybody R and down. Because I just want to make a note that Carly here... Maybe I'll just keep this as like a fucking... That's our name reference. We can add notes at a different thing here. Carly Roottree is better known as Rose Roottree. And she is the second daughter. So she is the... We can add that as a note as well. She is the second born daughter. Save that as our note. We know that Rhina and Riley are the other ones. We can get rid of everybody else. And hopefully I'm saying Rhina's name correctly. It's not a name I've ever seen before. Sometime in the early 90s, a now preteen Carly strongly expressed her dislike that the sisters had "ruh" names, and she was the odd one out. That's when she began to go by her middle name. Alright. Let's go with Rhina then. There are a lot of obituaries that focus on the Roottree sisters' modeling careers. You also come across an unofficial Roottree fan site seemingly curated by a teenager. It's neon pink with purple text and hard to read until you highlight the words. The young webmaster writes, Rhina is the most famous because she's the oldest and got married to TMS. But Riley is the smart one. And Rose is a middle child like me. Okay, I'm gonna copy that. You might think they are rich just because they are models, but their dad is also the president of the candy company, and their mom, Brenda, is a fashion designer. They do the modeling for her band Root. Brand Root. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to this one. Every time we find out who somebody is, I'm going to delete them from this big list. Rhina and Riley. We also know their mother's name is Brenda, but she's not on here. Well, she might be Brenda White. Is anybody else here named Brenda? Oh, I didn't get rid of Carly. Is anybody else named Brenda? No. So, Brenda White then would be... I'll add her to here. Brenda White is the mother. I forgot the father's name already, but I know his name was mentioned at some point. She's the mother, runs fashion brand Root. We'll change this to just like Roottree. I guess I'll call it the core family. This will be like, you know, the 3 daughters, mother and father here. That'll be where this is. Oh, I didn't save that this is fashion designer of brand Root. The girls are models. I'll write that down. I don't think I'll forget it, but they are models. I eat Roottrees candy all the time. My favorite are maple crisps, and I try to dress in plaid Root clothes like Riley does in most of the posters. Some days I want to get my ear pierced like Rose. I'll copy this as well. Actually, no, I'll put that up here. Okay, the author continues to talk about her own life and what she likes about the Root fashion lines, but none of it is relevant. Okay. Then let's look up Riley. Okay. So that's it then, it's just... we don't have a separate one for her. Well, what about if we look up Root? Yes. Root, the period is part of the name, is a clothing company. They make clothes for children from toddlers to teenagers. Although their website is down, likely due to increased web traffic, you find countless retail sites attempting to advertise their clothes toward the target audience. One of them has this to say: "You've spied the Roottrees sisters looking hella fly on catalogs, magazines, and posters. Now you too can be like Riley, Rose, or Rhina." You also come across a website from a collector of clothing catalogs. Apparently, Root has released 2 catalogs per year, every year since 1984, and Rhina appeared on almost all of them. There is only one that the webmaster considers a collector's item enough to mention. It seems that Brenda Roottree, the Roottree sisters' mother and Root's head designer, appeared on one cover holding her daughter Rose in 1985. The site says this is the only time her daughter was ever listed by her birth name, Carly Roottree. Okay. I'm gonna assume here. I don't have access to the, it would be, like, I don't have access to the, like, E with a line over it. You You stumble across an auction for a black and blue dress that's a Brenda White original. The auction describes it as a vintage dress from before Brenda became Brenda Roottree and started designing clothes for Root. The white and gold... As soon as it said black and blue dress, I was thinking about that, but yes, the white and gold dress itself doesn't seem relevant to your search. Oh my god, I have not thought about that in so long. Okay. Okay. I am curious as well. If I go back here... She would have been... I don't know if she was a baby, but she was young enough to be held. She was young enough to be held in 1985. That's a 4. Alright. We'll also look up Brenda Roottree. Okay. Well, I forget their father's name. But let's see here. Oh, I have to click on their faces when I'm in there. There we go. Okay. Let me look at my notes here. Rose has pierced ears, and Rose is the middle child. So this one is Rose. Sorry, this is... I should probably have typed in Roottree or Carly. I want to read this, though, here. Nobody in the list of that name. If somebody isn't in the list of names that your employer provided, doing a deeper dive on what you learn about them will often lead to additional discoveries. Make note of any brand names, books, product lines, or magazines that you don't recognize and search for them. Okay, yes. Magazines is a good idea there. But Carly should be what I have looked out here. This is very fun. I know, right? This is my fucking... They're all models, I believe. And I do believe as well we know who the oldest one is. Raina. Okay. So... Raina, and then this would be Riley. Now we don't know which is which for the photos, though. And we do need to find that out. We also can find a spouse for Raina. Yes, these are the things that we've looked up here. I mean, I did want to look up this. Okay, it is still the same thing here. Roottrees Sisters... TMS. What happens if I just search up Roottree? The first few pages are filled with news results about the plane crash. Besides that, there are countless advertisements and conversations about the various products made by the Roottree family company. Most articles mention Carl Roottree. Okay. He is the father, president of Roottree Candy Company. Daughters are also eulogized, referred to collectively as the Roottrees Sisters. They've been famous from a very early age. Alright. We're gonna look up Carl Roottree now. Roottree died in a recent plane crash along with his wife Brenda and their daughters, the sisters. President of the Roottree family, of the Roottree Candy Company, as well as the clothing company Root, which he was co-founded with his wife. Okay. Okay. Co-founded Root with spouse. According to news sites, the Roottrees Candy Company plans to put out a press release sometime within the hour to address the absence of Carl, the crash, and the questions they've been receiving. Once you finish placing the Roottrees sisters on the family tree, it would be wise to repeat this search. I agree. Mixed in with the recent news of the plane crash, there are a lot of results for Roottrees' extremely popular candy products. Their official website is unstable due to the traffic it has been receiving. However, you find a direct link to the history section that manages to work momentarily. The Roottrees Candy Company is founded by Elias Roottree shortly after he married his wife, Gwyneth, whose family owned a small farm called the Anderson Maple Farm. For reasons that aren't explained on the page, it has no CEO and no stockholders. Instead, it's run by a president with input and votes from extended family. The site does mention that every president has been a direct descendant of Elias and Gwyneth, including Carl Roottree, who despite his death is listed as the current president. The product that put them on the map were 5 pieces, maple candies with 5 different flavors that are dipped in a crispy, crackly candy coating. Since then, they have branched out to countless other products, all of which incorporate maple in some way. Their sister company, simply titled Root, specializes in children's clothing. The primary models for Root are the Roottrees sisters. Alright. I'm gonna just go ahead and copy this into here. I'm also going to get this. Seems pretty relevant. I also like that. I want to look at that. That'll probably be good for me to do in a bit here. We've gotten Brenda as well. I think we can now remove Carl Roottree. I am seeing Elias Roottree on here, but there are technically a couple of them. I don't know what C and M stand for like that. I assume maybe a middle initial. However, I'm not confident enough on that to do anything about it. I did the same thing I did for the women there and separated everybody R and down into their own thing for sake of scrolling. TMS. TMS is a common abbreviation for early 90s teen heartthrob Tommy Mark Sheridan. His first credited role as Thomas Sheridan was on a soap opera called Time Marches Onward. He skyrocketed to popularity after his starring role on the sitcom Brother Trouble. Since the end of Brother Trouble, he has often been on the cover of tabloids for his supposed drug use, and more recently, his relationship with Rhina Roottree. After a short engagement, they married in 1997, when she was only 19 and he was 23. Tommy Mark Sheridan, aka TMS. I'm gonna copy this. Oops. I fucked that up there. Oh, I can just do this. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna delete that note and do it like this. Okay. Tommy Mark Sheridan. There we are. Sheridan Thomas is who is married there. I do also... There's a part of me that wants to check here. Okay, Tommy Mark Sheridan. Brother Trouble is what I want to look up here. Brother Trouble was a 1989 sitcom about two 16-year-old brothers, the same age, one adopted, played by Tommy Mark Sheridan and Dustin Christopher Baker. Their single mother, played by stand-up Penelope Tessa Green, often had to navigate her job as a magazine columnist, as well as the troubles that come with raising two boys who were extremely competitive in sports, academics, and even romantic pursuit of their next-door neighbor, Roxy. The showrunner was small-screen director Ron Roottrees. The show had strong ratings through the entirety of Season 1, rocketing both Sheridan and Baker to instant stardom, mostly amongst the teenage girl demographic. However, it was cancelled in 1991, midway through the second season due to a significant drop-off in ratings. Okay. Highlight that. Highlight this. And highlight that. I don't know how many pages I'm allowed. I'm off on a tangent here. I'm like, I gotta look up all these people. Dustin Christopher Baker. Often abbreviated DCB by its teenage fans. Since leaving Brother Trouble, he's appeared in a few straight-to-VHS movies that adapt classic literature to a family audience with minor successes. The most popular of which was Jane Eyre, which reimagined the Charlotte Bronte novel as a high school romance with a focus on skateboarding. He doesn't seem to be associated with the Roottrees. Okay, well now I have to quickly check for Jane Eyre. Okay. Anything else about Charlotte Bronte, though? Okay, fine. Okay. Penelope Tessa Green. Retired... I've never seen that. Oh, I'm getting stuff here. Retired comedian. I've never seen that before. As a female version of comedian, I'm assuming. There's a result for the Laugh Lounge, a club in Reno that claims Penelope got her stand-up start and did her first did her famously raunchy breast milk cheese routine in the 80s before she was a TV star on Brother Trouble. The site claims she retired for the birth of her first child, but still makes yearly appearances for fundraisers, doing more family-friendly material. You find a picture labeled Joke-O-Lantern, 1997, as well as a different picture labeled Jack watching one of his mother's charity sets, 1944. Okay. Jack would be your son's name, assumingly? Penelope, mother of Jack? Yeah, we don't get the names of the kids. Alright, here. You found this on a website about a comedy club called the Laugh Lounge. It's a photo titled Joke-O-Lantern 1997 and was taken during one of Penelope Tessa Green's fundraisers. Now if I go back here, I don't have information on any of this yet. This is me fully investigating other stuff here. Jack watching one of his mother's charity sets, 1944. Okay. 94. Why did I say 44? You're gonna see how bad I am with saying numbers out loud through this. That is where the dyslexia really kicks in. I guess that's technically dyscalculia. Whatever, I'm not diagnosed anyway, I just notice it happening, and it happens, alright? But okay, chat. It's that time of stream. We need to take a break, okay? We take hourly breaks here, aka ad breaks, but I use them to remind everybody to do some self-care, alright? You need to go to the bathroom or grab a snack or get something to drink. Now is going to be the perfect time to do so. Please take care of yourself. I'm going to be here, I guess organizing my notes probably. I'm not going to be doing anything to continue the game, just making sure that I understand how the notes system works. But this is your hourly self-care check-in. Remember to fix your posture, take your meds, save your files, unclench your jaw, feed your pets, do some stretches. Please take care of yourself. Charge your devices. Did I already say that one? I don't know. Did the stream die? No, it didn't. Okay. It's just my stream manager decided to blip. But yes, please take care of yourself. I'm not gonna be looking up anything during the break. I mean, I might make a page here of just things that I want to look up, but I want to look up pretty much everything at the moment. You know? That's how things go. That's how things go. It's like, okay, we have all of these names here. What was that person we just learned the name of? Penelope Tessa Green? Is she on here? Yeah, she's right there. But yes. Okay. I mean, can I highlight things? No, I cannot, but I can spider search things via this menu. We have, like, pretty much all of the info, I think. Oh, I guess it's this, isn't it? Okay. I thought they were all wearing plaid. Whatever. There's a part of me that also... Ah, fuck, I meant to do that. I meant to look up Got Milk. I wanted to look up Got Milk. To search, I suppose. Got Milk. Like, that's so stupid. Like, the entire just normal thing here. The Laugh Lounge is something I want to look up. Penelope's son, Jack. Da-da-da. And it says that this kid is... This photo is 1994. I believe it's 1996 right now. I can check that later. It is definitely not, since it's 1997 in this photo. Da-da. Joko Lantern. Interesting. I do want to look up, like, all of these names, but it's gonna take a while to do that, you know? God, this is really... I fucking love this. I love this so far. Oh, boy. Welcome back, everybody from the ads. I've truly just been double-checking. I've been looking through my notes, seeing what I can add to the stuff here. Time marches onward. Whoop! I hit the Windows key. Thought I disabled that. Da-da-da. Anderson Maple Farm. I'm just gonna write down anything on here that isn't, like, somebody's name, I think. 5 pieces. Ron root tree I wanted to look up, whatever. Okay. Let's go now, because we know that, I did realize when looking through here, going by the fan blog, is that Riley wears plaid. So this one could be Riley. The one doing the big smile, we'll say. Meaning that you're Rhina. Okay, well done. 0 out of 50. These 3 entries are correct and have been locked. You've also locked the following optional entry, Sheridan Thomas. Ah. Ooh, is this gonna be like a booyah? Is this gonna be like a Obra Dinn, then? Where it's like, once you know a certain amount correctly,
Sorry
you get it?
You, but I had to be sure you could use the internet. Some folks refuse to get with the times. Safe to say, you're hired.
Of course, I get it.
The reward for untangling the family tree is substantial. Life-changing, even. But here's the catch.
Gasp.
The root trees go way, way back. The family tree's a bit daunting. Most people freak out the first time they see the whole thing. But I'm sure you'll be fine. The man who started it was particular about whom he considered family. For your purposes, you only need his direct blood relatives. Anyone related only by marriage is optional, but filling them in can lead to useful discoveries. Lastly, you now have access to some unique websites, plus a list of notable root trees. Notable people are easy to find via your search engine, and marked with stars on the family tree.
Okay.
I'm off for now. Carl Roottree had a lot in his office. I'll look for anything useful. I'll return once you identify 6 more blood relatives.
Yes, ma'am. Goodbye. Oh.
Sorry, one last thing.
I was about to say, it's not been 6 yet.
But if anyone else claiming to represent the Roottrees reaches out...
Are they lying?
I'd appreciate you not mentioning I was here. Thank you, and good luck.
Okay. It's like, I don't even know who you are. Okay, so these are the notable ones here. What's that X? Top secret envelope. Hey, wait. Go back to that? Yeah, I would love to sleuth. Okay, 3 out of 9 before the person who hired you returns. Every time you get 3 additional blood relatives in the family tree completely correct, name, occupation, and portrait, they will be locked in. All non-blood related relatives and small portraits are optional, but placing them in the tree helps remove extra names and photos. Top secret. You can open this envelope after the whole family tree has been filled in. It has 2 names that must be typed in manually. The clues are obscure, have been intentionally hidden in the past, and may even require some leaps in logic. Try to keep an eye out for any inconsistencies. Hell yeah. Family trees use surnames from birth, even if the person changed their last name after marriage. Always use a person's most recent occupation. Genealogy for dunces! For fucking idiots only. So this would be Brenda. And then this would be Carl. We don't have a photo for him yet. He would be the president. Okay, so... 1, 2, 3, 4? Yes? We'll leave it as that and we'll see what happens. Okay. Ba-ba-ba. And yes, they're yellow now that they have been locked in. Okay. Notable root trees. This is a list of notable root trees. The person who hired you gave you this list and said everyone on it could be found easily via your search engine. 35. Intuition. You've been in this line of work for a long time. So long, in fact, you've developed a sixth sense for how useful your evidence can be. The numbers in the magnifying glass refer to how many clues are connected to a specific piece of evidence. The higher the number, the more there is to find. At the start of your search, the notable list sets off alarm bells. A list of famous people that you can find via search engine. It's pretty rare to get something that useful. Better take advantage of it. As you progress, these numbers will change. Whenever you find more evidence or lock in family members, new discoveries will be added to the... Sorry, I'm allergic to evidence. Will be added to the list, and old evidence will become less useful. Trust your intuition. If a piece of evidence seems too good to be true, take a closer look at the people or phrases it mentions. Often the most satisfying revelations come from retracing a path you thought was fully explored, armed with a new perspective. I fully agree. Sometimes the reason certain evidence has such high value is because it can lead to finding more evidence. You may be missing a huge piece of the puzzle. Yeah, 35 is wild. That is a lot of guys. Alright. 5 pieces ad. Advertisement for 5 pieces aimed at kids from the magazine Teen Blast. What's this here? Periodicals. Ooh. It mentions that the 5 pieces were named as such because the original creator had 5 children. The ad also mentions that the current 5 flavors are not the same as back then. Let me delete these notes. I want them to be in this section. Alright. It's no longer the 1920s, is it? What even is an elderberry anyway? So strawberry, power plum, cool chocolate, bad blue raspberry, and awesome apple. There's 5 flavors because the original inventor had 5 kids. Maybe that's why kids still love them. Radical new flavors, because it's no longer the 1920s. I'm assuming that's a 9, I can't tell. Okay. And we also have this. Story so far. The Roottrees sisters and their parents died in a plane crash on December 6th, 1998. The next evening, a shadowy figure appeared at your door and said the lawyers were looking to sort out the family tree. After a quick test, the figure gave you access to some resources, included a notable Roottrees who said they'd be the easiest to search. Okay. Alright. There we are. Public library here. Oh, baby! And then the periodicals for newspapers and magazines. I'm so excited to get into this. Okay. I mean, let's just start off with all of the notes that we already have here. I mean, do I have to do both here? Let's see here, because we had some... I mean, I did want to also search Got Milk. Series of advertisements for milk funded by dairy farms that feature celebrities with milk mustaches. Okay. Nothing else there. The Laugh Lounge. Okay. That's nothing then. Joke-O-Lantern. The Laugh Lounge Comedy Club hosts several fundraisers throughout the year, but the most famous one seems to be Joke-O-Lantern, which happens every Halloween. Comics and patrons are encouraged to wear costumes, and it seems the person with the best costume wins a voucher which can be redeemed for 5 pounds of buffalo wings. There is a 2-drink minimum and a zero-tolerance policy for heckling. Every year we tell people not to heckle the comics, and every year someone ends up getting kicked out. Don't do it. Alright. Can I specify 1997? Alright. Okay. Jack Tessa Green. Okay. Let's start off with Jack Green. I forget how names work. And Jack Tessa. Alright. Pasta water I can do. Hell yeah. Alright. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, I wanted to look up Maple Crisps. Roottrees' most recent product, introduced in '92, circular crunchy wafers coated in nuts and chocolate maple flavoring. Website fan says they came to be during the tenure of Ernie Jr., former president of the Roottree Candy Company. Commercial that aired a few years back during the Super Bowl. Okay. Okay, nothing relevant about the Super Bowl. Alright. Ernie Jr. was a former president of the Roottree Candy Company. He seemed to directly precede Carl Roottree, and one website even says he was Carl's mentor. He was apparently very successful as a president, but not so much a public figure. He was rarely seen in public and stepped down due to an illness in 1996 and has since passed away. Interesting. So, preceded Carl, but said mentor and not father. So I don't believe that that would be father, but a lot of people there anyway. Ernie Jr., it's you said. We have Ernest Jr., I believe. Ernie Madsen. Alright. Those, I believe, tend to be for a junior. I believe that you're like... That's in a row, right? Split up. Okay, that is a divorce. What does this mean? It's white and red thread in a box around these people. Okay. Well, we know that... Okay, they're marked as Gwyneth and Elias. That's really funny. Okay, but we have multiple Gwyneths. Alright, we've narrowed it down to 2. And we know that there's multiple Eliases as well, I believe. So I do want to check those as well. But Elias should be, I suppose, president. The first, one would assume. And we don't have any photos of them as of yet. Okay. God, I'm so excited. I'm like, I have so much stuff that I want to search. I don't know where to start. Time marches onward. Soap opera, first credited role of TMS. Only 7 at the time. Was on the air for 22 years. Focused on 3 large families that had their own different ranches in the same town in Texas. TMS played Carson in 53 episodes before his character left. A few episodes later, his parents learned of an off-screen... He died off-screen in a whitewater rafting accident. Okay, after 6 years, he returned with partial amnesia. Recalled he was saved right from the river. The couple who found him were evil drug runners, smuggled him across the Mexican border and sold him into child labor. After he escaped, he couldn't remember who he was. Found his home by following the address his parents had written on the tag of his jacket. During that second run was played by somebody else, explained by covering his face in bandages, claiming that his work in the silver mines left him permanently disfigured and caused his voice to sound completely different. After plastic surgery that happened amidst a hostage situation at the local hospital, they were bandages removed. New actor played Carson for an additional 3 years, appearing in over 500 episodes. Then killed permanently while saving his younger sister from drowning in a whitewater rafting accident that happened at the same river the initial accident took place. Not connected to the Roottrees. Got it. Alright, Anderson Maple Farm. There are a few pictures, including the famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth, added to evidence. Before marrying Elias, Gwyneth Roottree was Gwyneth Anderson. She had no brothers, so as the oldest sister, she was to inherit Anderson Maple Farm, so long as she was married. Before Elias took over, the farm produced only syrup. It was supposedly Elias's idea to create candy. Not immediate success until they decided to combine the maple with other flavors. Led to 5 pieces, still found in stores to this day. Expanded beyond their original farm, it's been preserved as a tourist attraction. Daily demonstrations and educational tours that show off many of the turn-of-the-century appliances that Gwyneth would have used as a housewife in the early 1900s. So, alright, Gwyneth Anderson, we know here. I guess, would this be farmer? Not quite sure, we'll leave it at that for now. Alright, here we have these guys. Elias and Gwyneth Roottree, taken in 1909 after they founded the Roottree Candy Company, but before it was a success. From what you found searching the internet, it seems quite difficult to find any site about Elias or Gwyneth that isn't accompanied by this picture. Okay. Well, we can put their faces down for sure. Interesting how, like, some of these photos show up, but some of them don't. Not sure. Alright. Well, we know that this is Elias. I mean, I think we can safely assume it's the first one, right? But we'll leave it at that for now. Well, I don't even know if this is true here. Well, no, we would need Carl's photo, would be what we would need before anything happened there. Alright. That's Anderson Maple Farm. Let's go ahead and look up Elias Roottree. Founder, first president of the Roottree Candy Company. You find what's essentially a propaganda site about him created by the Roottree Candy Company. Picture of him and his wife. Biography here. Credited for inventing 5 pieces, popular maple candy. Before that, farm he inherited by marrying his wife only produced syrup. After being successful, spent his time and energy cementing his reputation as a family man. Quoted saying, "Blood is thicker than syrup, and that any child linked by blood to me shall be linked by blood to my legacy." The site enthusiastically claims that he made good on that promise, but offers no additional detail. That's fucked up. I don't trust this guy whatsoever. A few more quotes from a book called Family Man, The Roottree Legacy by Bess Williams. To say they are biased is a massive understatement. List of accomplishments and awards. One stands out. Like his great-grandson Carl, Elias was voted Watchman of the Year. Let me double check here. So this would be your kid. This would be your grandkid. Yes, this would be great-grandkid. So Watchman of the Year. That I am curious about. Business Watch magazine is a magazine focused on companies, CEOs, and the economy. Aha. Okay, so I needed to know them. Alright. They've been around for over 100 years in one form or another and will often write about major changes in management at famous companies. Every year they offer an award to a prominent businessman who has furthered the field. They call this Watchman of the Year. You find through a few searches that 2 Roottrees have been featured as Watchmen of the Year, Elias and Carl Roottree. Business Watch does not host any online archives on this site you can find via Spider Search, though you may be able to find individual articles and issues through your periodical search. I do want to look up Spider Search on Spider Search. Okay. Just wanted to double check. Business Watch... Watchmen of the Year. To many people, every 10 years they publish a full list. Elias and Carl. Awarded Watchman of the Year in 1936 for his accomplishment of rolling out 5 pieces to a global market. Notes from the article and a scan someone made of the cover have been added to my evidence. Let's see here. We have another photo here of Elias. Oh, I can't add the bonus photos yet. Alright. Watchman of the Year by Business Watch in 1936, and a painting of him appears on the cover. Magazine said he was voted Watchman of the Year because of 5 pieces. 1908, forms Roottree Candy Company after marrying his wife. Barely profitable. The daughter is first child here. It sounds like that will be important since they are listed on here oldest to youngest. So we know that this is going to be a girl. Unknown female, we can list that as. I don't know how gay this game is, I'm gonna be real. Because it seems like... I feel like I can safely assume that this is going to be a husband. Especially in the early 1900s with biological children? Who knows? Ba-ba-bum. Not impossible, but you know. Right, I was over here. Each of the 5 flavors is chosen based on the initials of one of his 5 children, 1 flavor per child. Okay, that's great to know. I'll look back at that. Pittsburgh markets, New England. New recipe and flavors finalized. Candy begins nationwide distribution. Purchases every available maple farm in Pennsylvania. With the help of his son, Elias Roottree Jr.'s architecture firm, a new industrialized factory and warehouse are built in Butler County. Production is tripled, worldwide distribution. What's next section that claims that Elias is going to pivot to ensuring his company's legacy and that the Roottree Candy Company remains a family business. He plans to do this with the Clancid Trust. Interesting. Okay. What is that? Clancid Trust? I was right the first time! The Clancid Trust is a highly unusual corporate arrangement named after Clancy Edward Roottree, who was Elias's son and the Roottree Candy Company's head lawyer at the time. Okay. So, Elias Roottree married to Gwyneth. How do you spell? Is that spelling of Gwyneth? Okay. Gwyneth Roottree, Nee Anderson. 5 children. Eldest is a girl. Elias Jr. Clancy Edward Roottree. Those are ones that we have confirmed names for. Due to its unique nature, it's often brought up in online discussions about financial matters and inheritance as an oddity. The company mandates that a fixed percentage of its profits are split every quarter amongst bank accounts representing each direct relative of Elias and Gwyneth. An account is created for each blood relative at birth and first accessible when they reach 18. The actual numbers have never been fully disclosed to the public, but due to the ever-increasing success of the company, it is a significant amount of money. The Clancid Trust is known for being essentially impossible to get around due to many checks and balances written into it. Still, there have been a few situations in which family members have tried to forcibly remove another member from the trust. Most details online are pretty vague since the matters are handled internally. That feels like it might be relevant. The only information you discover is from a university law school, which apparently had a guest lecturer talk about the Roottrees versus RR in 1994. When looking into claims of trust, you find mentions to the 5-piece guarantee, which went into effect at the same time. Real quick, I just wanna... because I feel like there's like an unknown kid or something. There's like a bastard, right? There's gotta be like a bastard or something. I don't know what happened here. Oh, somebody got around. Somebody got around, it seems. Alright, let's see here. Let's look up the 5-piece guarantee. In combination with Clancid Trust, attempt to ensure that it's a family business. Yearly salary of the Roottree president is always locked to the price of a single pack of 5 pieces. Damn. When the 5-piece guarantee went into effect, this was 25 cents a year. Now it's closer to $4. Combined with the Clancid Trust, however, it makes a bit more sense. Elias wanted to ensure that only his direct relatives could afford to be the president, and he knew that because their passive income was tied to the profits of the company, they would have a vested interest in keeping the company as profitable and successful as possible. Whether or not this was a smart or successful decision is widely debated both online and in person by economics enthusiasts of all levels of expertise. Okay. We know that, I didn't write this down, that Elias Jr. is an architect. I misspelled that, but whatever. And this guy was a lawyer. Okay. Let's see here. The Roottrees versus RR. Very few details about this particular incident with regards to the Clancid Trust. The student that attended the lecture wrote about it wrote the following on a legal oddities website. From what you can tell, RR attempted to unsuccessfully remove a fellow family member from the trust. It said that RR attempted 2 arguments. First, the person in question was born out of wedlock, and second, they committed a significant crime against a fellow family member. Still, due to the ironclad wording of the Clancid Trust, it was impossible to remove any direct descendant from Elias Roottree without completely dissolving this trust. No additional information. I'm assuming RR would be the initials? Meaning, if that is true, that leaves either Robert or Ronald Roottree. Interesting. Okay. I can get rid of Clancid Trust, I think, there. Let me look up 5 pieces again. Oh, maybe I didn't look them up at all. Because I remember I was planning on looking them up. Yes. I had been planning on looking them up, but I got this. Which are, it mentions that they're different ones, but we know that there's an elderberry, which is the least helpful one. Given that we know that Elias Jr. is one of the kids, because we know that they are initials for the kids here. 5 pieces. Iconic candy sold by Roottree. No longer the company's only popular product. They still sell well, though. Colorful, shell-coated maple candies that, since the late 20s, have been pressed into the shape of a maple leaf, although they usually have one flavor that looks more like a berry. As tastes have changed over the years, so have the 5 flavors, but the shape and combination of maple has remained consistent. There's also a history of print advertising website that claims to have a 5-pieces advertisement scanned from a book called The Sweet History of Candy, Volume 2 by Charles Lee. Unfortunately, when you click through the website, it looks like all of their image links are broken. I believe that is our second book that we've gotten here that I wanted to look up. I'm not done any of those yet. So let's start over here with Family Man, author name first, my bad. Bess Williams. Family Man. The Roottree Legacy. Published 1920, hardcover, nonfiction anthology, old book about Elias Roottree. No downloadable version available because the book is impossible to find these days. Dang. Alright. Oh, I never looked up. I want to quickly go back over to the periodicals here. I've looked up him. I want to look up Carl Roottree. Voted watch him in the year 1987 for his work with Root. Cover and a summary of the article has been added to your evidence. I believe we'll probably get an image of Carl finally there. I do also want to look up for this other thing real quick. Charles Lee. The Sweet History of Candy, Volume... I'm great at typing. 1985, hardcover, history, advertising, nonfiction. Part of a book series about all things candy in the modern world. Starts in 1925, continues onward to chronicle the rise of mass production and global distribution. Ends with a look into the future of candy as envisioned by experts in 1985. You can see they got pretty much everything wrong. Include some print advertisements. Find a newspaper ad for 5 pieces from the 1930s. Alright. Well, it says... If we go back to Spider Search, let's see here. They were invented in the 20s. The flavors might be the same at that point, but they could still have changed. That's the earliest listing of flavors that we have so far. And we know that elderberry is one of the original flavors. There's parts of me that also wants to look up other stuff about the Roottrees on here. There we are. In 1959, there is a small blurb about Zach Morden, son of James and Gwendolyn Morden, and grandson of Elias Roottree, inheriting the candy company. Okay. Grandson of Elias Roottree. So it would be, well... Assuming here that women are taking men's names and there's no change in that, there's no, like, men taking any women's names here, that would mean that Elias would be, like, his daughter would be Gwendolyn, married James. Gwendolyn Morden, me, Roottree, married to James Morden. Son is Zach Morden, who inherited Roottrees Candy Company. He's quoted as saying, "Elias entrusted me with carrying on his legacy, and that's what I plan to do. Along with 5 pieces, our chocolate maple products are selling incredibly well, and we will not be making any changes." Okay. That's fun. Okay, so 1959, he said they're not making any changes. I don't know if Elias would have changed any of the 5 pieces flavors. So maybe the flavors have only changed more recently. Radical new flavors. You know? Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. And it could also be that, get rid of that for a second. Yeah, I think that... Yeah. You might not even be the 4th president. Because if he handed it to his grandson, then you might be the 3rd president. We don't have a photo of you yet, because I haven't looked over here yet. I do want to also look up Teen Blast real quick. Do we have Teen Blast? There we are. Teen Blast has played host to many Roottrees advertisements over the years for their many products, including 5 pieces. They flood the results. One of them was already in your evidence. Okay. Alright, alright. Just wanted to double check that Teen Blast is in fact a thing. Okay. Let's look through our notes again for a second here. Business Watch. Let's see, do they have anything about Anderson Maple Farm? No, alright. Do they have anything about 5 pieces? Okay. Just about ads. Da-da-da. Maple Crisps. Yes, we had wanted to look up Ron Roottree as well. Small screen director, head of RR Productions. RR. He directed episodes of a few other shows before showrunning and creating a 1-season hit, Brother Trouble. Show was cancelled partway through season 2. Alright. Not a lot of info about Ron, but I feel like he might be RR. Okay. Ba-ba-bum. Let me just look up Bess Williams herself. Author born in the late 1800s, lived just outside of Miami, died tragically young in a major hurricane that struck the area in 1926. Information about her and her book seems to have faded over time due to a lack of interest. Alright, I'm gonna delete that note then. Okay. I mean, we'll look up Elias Roottree Jr. Listed on a website about historical buildings in Butler County. He is listed alongside an old residence that has been preserved called Hunt Top House. I mean, it says I come up empty, but I'm gonna try anyway. Alright. They weren't lying. It did in fact come up empty. I'm guessing when I click on these, yes, it takes me to where I was. Even if it's something else? Yes, indeedy. Yeah, alright. I mean, if I look up Butler County... Ooh, periodical. Got the Butler County Times. Located outside of Pittsburgh. Headquarters of the city. The company began on a small farm within the Butler County limits, and the area has a lot of history with the family. Butler County Times is presumably a local paper there. There are likely articles from over the years involving the Roottrees family and those adjacent to them, automatically added to our periodical search interface. As a side note, a video game called The Roottrees Are Dead was once set in Butler County, but it turns out the creator was never lived in Butler County or had any connection to Butler County. Okay, good for you, bud. Alright. Let's see here. Well, that's Elias Jr. we looked up there. Clancy Edward Roottree. Okay, that just leads us here. If I get rid of Edward... Okay. Gwendolyn Morden. James Morden. Zach Morden is probably gonna have something, right? No! Okay. Okay, let's look at the info we got over here. Here's our new... There's Carl. We're gonna wait for Carl. It's a miracle! A modern candy for a modern society. Roottrees 5 pieces. The Roottrees are a proud family business, and our flavors are inspired by our children. G is for grape, E is for elderberry, CE is for cinnamon extract, M is for melon, and introducing M for miracleberry. Miracleberry is a burst of beautiful blossoming blended berries. Try it today. Okay. Found this in the Charles Lee book. It's from 1928, 6 years after the debut of 5 pieces. Okay. And it says that the order here specifically... Yeah, I was assuming here... Because we have... I'm like, the newest flavor, Miracleberry, M is going to be the newest. Eldest is a girl. We knew that already, so I could have assumed Gwendolyn. And I think I can safely assume that now that this is calling out the order of them here. G-E, Clancy Edward Cinnamon Extract. M and M are the last ones, like... Holy shit, like the candy, or like the wrapper. Potentially MB for that last one, who knows. Okay, but we can, I think, safely put... For this here, this would be Gwendolyn. They're listed with their names by birth, right? Yes. I mean, do we have... Okay, so there is a Gwendolyn Morden as well. But married to James Morden. One of your sons would be Zach. Though we don't know, who. I think I can take Gwendolyn off of here now. Gwendolyn... No, wait, it would be over here. It's in the... If they start with an R, they're over here. Gwendolyn Roottree. And James Morden. Yeah, the only other Morden we have for men is Zachariah. For women, do we have another? We have 3 more. We have Angelica, Caroline, and Gwendolyn. Assumingly that means... There's some children things happening, yeah. But both of them have had 2 children, so alright. Okay. I put Gwendolyn on. I've not yet put... let's see here. Was that in Candy? Was that under page 6? Yes, that was page 6. I'll just title this early. Talking about the early generations here. Second would be Elias Jr. That is the second one, right? Yes. He would be an architect. The third oldest would be Clancy Edward. Meaning that he would be a lawyer. And we don't yet have the other 2, though their names are going to be an M. Let's see here. Root tree names beginning with M. There's Marguerite. Miracle Jr. and Miracle the Third. I mean, it's called Miracleberry, so it could be straight up Miracle, though I'm not sure. Okay, we'll go over here now. Look at this. Also, our ongoing coverage of who's who in the corporate world. Carl Roottrees grabs life by the roots. Voted Watchman of the Year, 1987. Photo of him appears on the cover. According to the cover, Business Watch is the magazine for and about corporate leaders, and has ongoing coverage of who's who in the corporate world. Carl was chosen not for his work at the Roottrees Candy Company, rather Root. Before they married, Carl's wife Brenda was a fashion consultant. When Rhina was born, Brenda retired to become a stay-at-home mother. She spent any free time she had at the sewing machine. Her new clothes were a hit with other parents, including Carl's cousin, Jim Roottrees, a notable singer who had a young daughter around the same age as Rhina. That's important. Not for this section, though. Not for that section at all. I'll put that on a new one. But, one of these guys here, because this is Carl, so one of his cousins. We got a parent here, parents, siblings. One of these 3. They said he was notable, so it's likely that one. Can I double check here? Notable Roottrees, that Jim is listed as notable. It's like, okay, you say that Jim is notable. Does the shadowy figure say that Jim is notable? Jim is short for James sometimes? It could be James. Let's see here. Let me look at my big ol' list of names. Men. Yeah, I think James is the only name on here that can go by Jim. So this would be Jim Roottrees, James Roottrees. Occupation. They said singer, didn't they? What did they say for him? A notable singer. Oh yeah, and it says Jim Roottrees as well. Well, that's not on here, so I guess maybe his job changed. Because I believe it said that their occupation is the last thing that was listed. Yes, their most recent occupation. Ba-ba-bum. And Jim has a daughter. Well, there's 2, so we know at least one of them is a daughter. Brenda's patterns are being copied by other brands. Seeing the demand, Carl and his second cousin, Ernie Jr., who had just become president of Roottrees at the time, spearheaded a Root. Okay, I believe second cousin is your parents' cousin's kid. So Ernie was... No? There's a guide to this somewhere, right? That's what I believe second cousins are, but I might be wrong here. That's what I have second cousins written down as in my brain. I remember that I read somewhere in this game what they are. Adoption. Guardian, adoption, or otherwise. That's cool. I'm not gonna search through all of this to find it. Other blood relatives who have a say in company finances refused to fund anything other than candy, so Carl personally spent his entire inheritance to bankroll the clothing company. When the profits began to appear, however, the rest of the family changed their tune. They repaid his investment, and now Root exists under the umbrella of the candy company, and they all benefit. Per tradition, or perhaps superstition, new clothes always debuted the way the first ones did. Rhina became their catalog's cover model. As she grew, the product line expanded to older kids as well. Her younger sisters were then recruited to show off the baby clothes. Carl was voted Watchman of the Year primarily for his personal gamble and the ensuing payoff. Okay, we can put Carl's face on now. There we go. Welp. I feel like hopefully that would have worked, but it hasn't yet. So I suppose we'll see. Unless, like, retired or something is on here, you know? But it's like, I don't think that is. I'm guessing maybe she's not listed as a farmer. Housewife, yeah, she said that she later became... No, that was somebody else. That was, Brenda. I'll double check her later then. Let's see here. Let's go over to here. You can search for Gwendolyn here. Or Gwyneth. What was her name? Gwyneth. Whoops. Anderson Maple Farm. Okay. So I'm just curious, did she do something else? Alright, whatever. Let's go look for the notable guys again. We got Carl. Let's go for Gwyn, maybe? Yeah. Gwyn Roottree. Oops. You find some information on a website about old films that are not yet available in VHS. The site is not very well organized and the search is broken, but you can get to individual pages from your search engine. Gwyn Roottree is a somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 1950s. She appeared often in tabloids, especially around the time of her highly publicized divorce. Her biggest role was the minor hit movie Guys Like Us. She left Hollywood after the flop of Christmas Mission. There's a widely circulated photo of Gwyn from behind the scenes on one of her movies that you've added to evidence. Granddaughter of Elias Roottree, founder of Roottree Candy, she shouldn't have been named Roottree, but her father took her mother's famous... She took her mother's famous name, which was quite rare in those days. Alright, ads are about to start, so this is your hourly self-care check-in. If you need to go to the bathroom or grab a snack or get something to drink, please do so. I won't be making any progress in the game during this ad break. You won't miss out on anything. If you need to, you can also fix your posture, take your meds, save your files, unclench your jaw, feed your pets, charge your devices, and do some stretches. Please take care of yourself. It's really important. Stretching my neck now. Wah. And my spine. My back. I am glad that, like, one of these people had the father take the last name. That's neat. You know? Ba-ba-ba. Granddaughter of Elias. Like, I'll check out the family board again. 'Cause she's divorced, which seems pretty important. And I also want to look up these movies that she was in. This game is fucking great. I love games like this. I'm getting throwbacks to, when I was playing Hypnospace Outlaw. That game fucking rules. This game also fucking rules. I love this sort of genre of game. I've said it before, I don't know what it's called. It's just a game where, like, you're on a computer. You know? I don't know what to call that genre. I've never heard a term for it. But it's great. I love it. And this does a really good job of being like, here's all of this information. And then, like, okay, I need to figure out what's relevant. And I want to look it all up at once, and it's like, I know something is gonna slip through the cracks. I know that I'm, like, skipping over things, and I'm like, oh, I'll come back to it later, and then I'm gonna forget about it, and then I'm gonna have to search through everything again, I'm gonna find something that I missed, and I'm gonna go, aha! It's this thing! And it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. God, this is so cool. Oh my goodness. I'm super excited to just keep on getting into this. It's everything I expected. It's everything I wanted. Honestly, it's better than I expected. It's everything I could want and more. You know, I'm so excited to get into it. And that saxophone is going crazy. Shout out to that saxophone. I don't really normally like saxophones in all honesty, but this one's okay. I don't like brass in general, I suppose, but I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm neutral on it. It's not my favorite section of instrumentation, I suppose. No offense to any brass players, of course. I was a woodwind person when I was in middle school band. That meant I sat directly in front of all of the brass players, you know, so... maybe that leads to some of it. Is all of those horns. Alright, welcome back from the ads. Let's see here. We're gonna continue looking up Gwen Roottrees via these movies that she was in. Guys Like Us. Da-da-da. Guys Like Us is a 1953 film in which two secretaries cut their hair short and pose as businessmen to get ahead in life until one of them falls in love with their client and hilarity ensues. Starring Gwen Roottrees, Leslie Florence, and Harrison Lane. Titles of play on words as it can be read that the two women are men similar to other men, or that the men are fond of them. Whoa! Quirky! Let's look up Christmas Mission. On a page called Flops. Damn. It was a war movie, oh boy, about post-World War I, Released in 1955, that's not far off from the end of World War I, especially not off from the end of World War II, I guess. If you've had a world war in between them, I guess maybe that's fine. Received poor reviews and lost his studio money. Gwen Roottrees had a role as a soldier's wife who wrote him letters from home. No additional relevant information. Marketed as an incredible true story, but no record of the events happening has ever been found. Huh. I mean, if I just look up flops... Alright, nothing there. I figured. Let's look up these other here. Leslie Florence. Her Roottrees co-star. Nothing else. There's not even a Did You Know trivia section for her. Damn. Harrison Lane. TV actor with a major role in Guys Like Us and some other films. His largest role before Guys Like Us was a villain in the first season of Western Frontiers. Due to the popularity of Guys Like Us, the studio brought Lane back to play the villain's twin brother, this time joining as a hero, joining the protagonist. Western Frontiers has no connection to the Roottrees. Harrison Lane seems to be a dead end. Okay. Married his high school sweetheart after they reunited at a movie premiere. That's nice. I'll double check Western Frontiers even though it said that, but you know. Yeah, okay. So we know that Gwen is a granddaughter of Elias Roottrees here. And it's likely not going to be from over here because I believe this is going to be the Morden family. So it should be one of these guys, and she's one of the notable ones, so likely here, here, or here. We know that this is going to be Jim. We look at the notable ones again. Carl and Elias. Gwen, Red, Lauren, and Miracle Jr. Bop, bop, bop. Did I count Jim when I was saying that? Red, Lauren, Miracle Jr., Gwen, and Jim. Where's that other star? Red Roottrees. I believe we've already looked up Jim. No, we haven't. We haven't yet. Let's look up Red. Aloysius Herring Roottrees. Oh my god. AKA Red was an appointed judge and politician who earned his nickname ironically because he was the ambassador to Ireland for only about 6 days. He served what some people contend is the shortest term in history. A few days after he was appointed, he was heard disparaging his position and the Irish people. He then tried to run for state senate. He claimed to be related to the Roottrees family company in a newspaper ad, but it came out that the last name was merely a coincidence, and he was defeated in a landslide. Huh. So is he... Was he nothing then? Aloysius... Oh my god. Herring Roottrees. His nickname is Red. Red Herring. Are you... I love that. But I swear to god, if he's behind here, if he was the bastard, I'm just gonna keep calling that the bastard. I don't know if they were or not. Okay, that explains why one of these stars wasn't there. But I really fucking love that. It has its own little thing. Okay, it has its own little red herring symbol. Okay, that's cute. That's cute. Okay, Jim Roottrees. Oh, there's that little duck. Oh, it's like the programmers talking to a rubber duck to help them with their code. I know things. Like how to spell. I added an S by accident. James Roottree is a singer who sings in the duo Jim and the Diamond with his wife Diamond LaRue. The duo, according to many sources you can find, is considered a one-hit wonder due to the disco song Rollin' On Down to the City. Now in my evidence folder. Although Jim writes the majority of songs, plays the guitar, and often sings, Diamond is considered by fans to be the band's lead singer. The band never had another hit, but has its fans who refer to themselves as Diamond's Dazzlers. The rest of their music is more folksy and acoustic than the one song they were known for. Jim and Diamond have continued to release music through the early 80s and 90s. Other albums you find mentioned are Cherry Tree and Sound of Laughter. Jim has become a bit of a recluse and hasn't made a public appearance since 1996. Okay, so Jim here, maybe musician? Musician. Gotcha. Spouse would be Diamond. Diamond LaRue, real name. Wow. Okay. Not a stage name, it seems. Okay. I want to look up Jim and Diamond. Oops. I wanted to turn my notes on. Alright. Rollin' on down to the city. Nope. Cherry Tree. Pretty general. Perhaps unsurprisingly, a lot of results are foliage. An album by Jim and Diamond released in 1995. It wasn't professionally reviewed, though die-hard fans of Jim and Diamond online say it was a return to form. The CD was apparently so hard to find in stores that some fans have resorted to selling cassette bootlegs of it. There's a music commerce website that claims to sell the album, but it's sold out at the moment. Short sample of one of the songs called Sun. Okay. Album by Jim and Diamond released in 1989. Can't even find a picture of the cover. Doesn't appear to have been very successful, and reviews seem middling even from fans. Damn. Basic liner notes exist on a Jim Roottree fan page. It states that the lyrics and guitar are credited to Jim Roottree, vocals credited to Diamond LaRue. Alright. Jim and Diamond Son. Alright. So that goes at, we're down to Jim now. Let's see here. This is rolling on down to the city. As seen in MMM, only the great-grandson of Elias Roottree can make disco this sweet. Peter... I can't read that last name from MMM. Well, now I have to look up MMM. Modern Music Monthly. Magazine from the 40s to 80s went out of business due to high competition from much more major publications. Jim and Diamond. Review from 1979 titled A Reluctant Hitmaker, Jim Goes into His First Band. Until a few years ago, Diamond and I were in C&J and J&D. C&J plus J&D with my cousin and his ex. Clark never knew his father, so our grandpop insisted he spend time with my dad and me. As a result, Clark and I grew up like brothers. Okay, Diamond and Jane, on the other hand, are actually sisters. So the four of us had a sort of cutesy family band thing going on. Not our finest hour. Regardless, when Diamond walked in on Clark in bed with her younger sister, everything exploded. No more family band. Okay. So this is another one of One of these guys is Clark. Likely you? I'm leaning towards this guy being Clark. I'll put that on you, Hugh, for now. You said sister... was it Jane? Jane. I mean, let's look at the LaRues. LaRue Jane, and then we'll have LaRue Kim? Because in bed with the younger sister, maybe? This would be Diamond LaRue, so we'll put you here. And this would be James. Ba-ba-bum. Back over here. Clark never knew his father, so our grandpop insisted he spend time with my dad and me. Yes, yes, yes. The only thing Clark and I had in common was music, but even then we never agreed on what it should be. He was always more interested in catchy tunes, something you'd hum a week later. I've been told Roland is like that, but that wasn't my goal. When he called me up and said he liked it, I took it as a sign I was going in the wrong direction musically. That made him laugh, but I'm trying to make art. I don't mind saying any of this because he'd agree. For most of the decade he was a mess, but he's a lot happier now. He started Raffer Tunes, and he's become a much better jingle writer than a songwriter. One of the benefits of our famous family is a massive company willing to be a client. That's also how my father was connected to Roottree. All of his old ad campaigns were hung out on the walls over the record player, but I was never interested. I just went straight for the music. I guess Clark was paying more attention. So, okay, assuming that this is Clark here, advertising, and same for James's father, assuming that his father is, the Roottree, because that's the vibe that I got from that, but I might be, wrong. But I'll go ahead and just mark them like that. There was something up here. Yes, I wanted to look up that. And I also wanted to look up this. A reluctant hitchhiker. Okay. Over here, C and J plus J and D. Okay, released one single called These Times. Someone with the username XXXDieHardDazzlerXXX scanned the cover and noted that it cost him over $200 at an auction. Apparently, this was Jim Roottree and Diamond LaRue's first song together. He also mentions that it was performed with Jim's cousin and Diamond's sister, and that it was only somewhat similar to Jim and Diamond's later works. You can't find anything else out about Die Hard Dazzler, the band, or the single, so all that's left to do is add the scan to the evidence. After a blazing fast 35-minute download, the track is also available. Well, I know you said you couldn't find anything else, but you know I gotta try. Okay, fine, fine. Okay. Raffer Tunes. Okay, a website about Raffer Tunes. Clark Rafferty LaRue's advertising firm. On it, there's an About page, and you find a picture labeled The Inspiration for the Famous Super Bowl Ad Campaign. Below that is more detail. Clark was in a department store getting a family portrait with his wife and children, and when his wife was trying to get his youngest Katrina to calm down for the picture, he had the idea for the Roottrees Super Bowl ad. Let's just take all of that real quick. Because I put him down as Rafferty Clark. But... okay, I don't see Rafferty no, this would be by birth. So, his youngest kid is Katrina. Be Rafferty LaRue there. I mean... There's only one other one, though. Maybe this isn't the correct train here. But no, because, James called him his cousin, and this one doesn't have any kids. I mean, he could be colloquially referring to any of these guys, but it would have to be somebody with multiple kids. So, like, it could be you or you? Unsure. I'll leave it at that. None of this has, like, clicked in yet, which is a little scary. This also said that he was, like, a recluse afterwards. Yeah, I'm just double-checking. There's nothing for that. Okay. Katrina Rafferty LaRue. Okay. Diamond LaRue. Yeah, nothing new there for her. Back to Raffertunes here. There we go. The Roottrees Maple Super Bowl commercial from 1994 has a family bickering in a department store, and the father bites into a Roottrees Maple crisp. Time stops and a jingle plays while he dances down the aisle. As he does, different things in the department store become Roottrees candy. For example, a bed that the father collapses onto becomes a giant chocolate bar. The jingle, Need the Rest, went on to be featured in other commercials with other scenarios. Need the Rest? Famous jingle for Roottrees Maple Crisp originating in the commercial. When you're surrounded by madness and mayhem, reach for the best. There's enough to share, but let's face it, you need the rest. Okay, back over here. Rollin' On Down to the City was barely a top 20 hit for a few weeks in 1979. According to the liner notes, it satirizes how a part of society was content to remain indifferent to economic inflation and civil unrest in the Middle East. Somewhat ironically, listeners didn't seem to pay attention to the lyrics enough to trick them into caring. Instead, most of its play came from roller discos. Because it was such a product of its time, it doesn't get much play anymore, even on stations that play oldies. Maybe that's why you'd never heard of it before now. The image is from an auction for a sealed copy. It has a sticker that says, only the great-grandson of Elias Roottrees could make disco this sweet. And let me just double-check. Yep, great-grandson. Peter Janowitz. Janowitz? Whatever, I'm just gonna copy that. The lyrics of the song contain no clues. I'll take your word for it. Yeah, that's not... Yeah. Okay. I like that verse. Let's see here. Peter Janowitz seems to be a music critic. You find a mention on a fan website about a band unrelated to the Roottrees. Used to work for MMM, but before the magazine went under. Okay. Ooh, what was the... Yes. Let me take this. A section of the magazine called Skip It or Flip It has short, pithy blurbs about new records. An album called These Times is listed under the Skip It column with the following. These Times, a new single from C&J, J&D, Clark Rafferty, Jim Roottrees, and two of the LaRue sisters. Amateurish folk-style songwriting is catchy at times, but ultimately doesn't do anything new. Damn. Back over here. Take this guy's name over to the periodicals. MMM. Nothing relevant here. Alright. Diamond LaRue? In an article from 1968, you find a small section focusing on young, upcoming talent that Modern Music Monthly predicts will make it big. LaRue sisters got start doing session work for their great-uncle's record label. You remember any songs from 60 to 65 that featured the voices of kids? They were probably involved. Back then, they were credited as the Lucky LaRues. Now that he's passed, they moved on to bigger and better ventures and are going by their full names. Diamond and Jane have been touring with some famous faces. Ever heard of the Roottrees? And are looking to release an album sometime in the next year. Youngest Kim is about to step into the prominent role on Broadway, taking over for one of the children in Oliver. Okay. Lucky LaRue's indeed, so there is an even younger sister. Yeah, that was Kim there. Yes, I had put her correct. Alright. Ba-ba-bum. I feel like I'm gonna look up all of the... I mean, let's just see here. LaRue sisters. Helps if you spell it right. Lucky LaRue's. Alright. I'll also just check quickly for, Jane and Kim. Okay. Okay, I forget. I probably looked up Diamond. Yes, so... Jane LaRue? Oh. Jane Dellavicchio is listed on a Talent for Hire site as a wedding singer. Way down in the credentials section of her biography, it mentions she got her start as a young girl when she was Jane LaRue of the Lucky LaRues. It also mentions to only contact her agent in the event you actually wish to hire her, and that any and all inquiries about her past or her sister would be ignored. Fair enough. Ba-ba-bum. And then Kim LaRue. Nothing there. We have music. We have it here.
We're rolling, rolling, rolling on down to the sea.
Okay, we also have various things here. This is the Rafferty LaRues. Found this photo on the Raffertunes website. It was labeled Inspiration for the Famous Ad Campaign. Clark was in a department store getting a family portrait with his wife and children, and while his wife was trying to get Katrina, his youngest, to calm down for the picture, he had the idea for the Roottrees Super Bowl ad. Okay, well, this can't be Jane then. We'll just put you down as unknown female. Because this would have to be Jane then. And then this would be Kim. I assume. Because we have a photo of you. And if that was Jane, then we wouldn't have had a photo of you. So we'd still need to have a kid. Let's see here. Maybe we'll put you as Jane? And then you and you. So Katrina would be the youngest kid. Yeah, you would be... You would be Jessica then? I mean, student would probably... Ah! we go. We got more blood relatives down. Okay, who do I have correct? Okay, these three are correct. Hee. Booyah, indeed. Alright. And you would also probably be K-12. Okay, so he was with some other people beforehand. And that would be you. Okay, we got you for sure. Alright. And we've gotten you confirmed that that is James Morden. Okay, yeah, your job is something different, and now that we have you there, we can put that in. What was your job, then? We'll find you at some point. We'll figure it out, Gwyneth. And we don't have anything there for you yet. What were we looking at here? Okay. These times... I can't get these photos here. What does that say? Folk style songwriting catchy. Once again, it's MMM magazine. We'll play this song as well. Old single from folk group C and J plus J and D. Scan of the album as well as a recording of the title track thanks to a collector of Jim and Roottree memorabilia. Website is also listed the song's credits as music and lyrics by Clark and Jim, backup vocals by The Ruse. No clues in the lyrics. Okay, we can't verify you yet, so... it's one of these boys. Oh, they both have brown eyes. Those might be green, I don't know. You're one of them. Okay, I'm assuming that these are the couples. So, Diamond is blonde. So we'll say that it's this one. And we can't put other photos in for you yet. And Carl is listed incorrectly as well. So he's not the third president, we know that for sure. He's not the second. Well, I'm confident on these two. Let me click president to various degrees. There we go. Okay, that's what I had him as originally. And then I started doubting everything. Alright. Okay, and I got him correct. Oh, I forgot that you would show up. Hi!
You're on a roll. I'll try to keep that momentum going. Carl's office was a mess, thanks to some burst pipes.
Who the fuck are you? Like, are you actually... Like, are you... nefarious? What's up?
But I unearthed a photo from a 1970s Roottrees reunion. I also found some important-looking papers.
Wow.
You've traced 9 blood relatives so far. I'll have more to share after you find 9 more.
Thank you for taking that much time. I'm like, I'm on a roll here. You're interrupting me. I have a lot of information I haven't looked even at yet, so, you know. So now I can put this guy as you, because I know for sure that that's you. Oh, would you be Kim then? No. Because it had to have been Jane there. But I have that photo. It's a JND. Okay, whatever. Let's see here. Oh, there's more here. Yeah. With more... They returned with more resources. Alright, the stuff that I had already. Let's see here. Widely circulated photo of Gwyn Roottree. Seen at multiple websites about old films. On notable Roottrees list. Yes. Was Gwyn... Okay, are you Gwendolyn, or are you the same person? Roottree... No, you're not. Okay, just double checking. Like, I don't believe I know where Gwyn is, but I now know that that is Gwyn. Gotcha. Alright. Cherry Tree Sun preview. Album by Jim and Diamond. One of the songs is called Sun. Not a full version, but we have a preview here. Someday she depart in part, I'd never be alone. In my heart I'll always be the son of... Now, there's nothing here that says don't pay attention to the lyrics. And all of these are own. They all end in own. Is there like a woman named Joan? We need... Okay, we're looking at the women. Eloise, Gwyneth, Deborah, Laura, Stephanie, Patricia, Sarah, Daniela, Louisa, Bonnie, Eve, Patricia, Bethany, Stephanie, Clara, Diamond, Jane, Kim, Helen, Gwyneth, Nicole, Joan! Anybody else? Nope, that's the only one. Monroe, Joan. No, I don't believe anybody else was named Monroe. Yeah. For sure you're coming into it here. Did we have information about James's dad? My mind is saying a name that begins with C, but I don't know why I'm saying that. No, I think I might have been thinking about it because Clark was his cousin. He has a daughter, we know that much, but we don't know if both of them are daughters or if it's just the one. Let's see here. Vote for Stephanie Jones for City Council. Better for Butler County. I can't click on that. Buried under a ton of other mail that Carl left in his inbox. Had a handwritten note attached that seemed personal. It's a flyer for about a candidate for a local office, Stephanie Jones. On the back is an excerpt from a newspaper article from the Butler County Times about her campaign. Stephanie may have grown up in an unconventional family, to say the least, but in her years, it was still full of in her words, it was still full of love. Now, 22 years later, with a baby of her own due around Christmas, her message for her voters is simply, "Love is our future." The handwritten note says, "Carl, I know we don't see eye to eye when it comes to the candy company, but if you could talk to your girls about putting out a statement supporting Stephanie, she could use the publicity your daughters bring. Don't let our conflict spread to the next generation. CM." Assuming that you would be CM then? Because I'm assuming that you're Stephanie. CM. Yeah. And her name was Stephanie, what was that? Stephanie Jones. You learn from an election results page that Stephanie Jones, a candidate for city council, won her campaign on election day about a month ago. You find no mention of the Roottrees in any articles about her. Barebones website for her campaign. Simply a pivot over campaign mailer underneath says, read the full article. I was planning on it. I wanted to look up Love is Our Future. Just because that was capitalized, I wasn't sure if that was going to be a campaign slogan. Okay. Butler County Times, Stephanie Jones. Small report detailing the election results from last month's election. She won! Full version of it on the back of the campaign mailer. While most of it is unimportant, you do find the following. Stephanie Jones, born Stephanie Landon, until her marriage to local business owner Brian Jones, has lived in Butler County her whole life. Grew up in a home without a father. With my mother and her partner, I essentially had an entirely female influence. Though she is a distant cousin of the Roottrees, her mother Caroline, a local artist who has appeared on the front page of the Butler County Times in the past, has often come out opposed to the corporation's policies regarding deforestation of indigenous trees to expand their maple farms. Unlike my mother, I'm not a fighter. I want to bring love to the world. Okay. So wait, are you saying that it's fine to deforest the trees, or what? Is that what you're saying, Stephanie, or what? Okay. Distant cousin here. Noted. I mean, is Brian Jones mentioned at all here? Yeah. Many advertisements over the years, as well as a small article about Jones Graphic and Print. Piece about Brian taking over his father's print company. Not let it go to waste as part of a marketing opportunity. Been in and out of that shop my whole life. My father taught me everything there is to know when it comes to getting the job done right and getting it done quick. We've been a printing staple of Butler County for years, and even the Butler County Times uses us for their coupon pages a few times a year. Thanks, by the way. He laughs. But still, whether you're a new client or one of our regulars, nothing will change. Come on down for the best prices on bulk printing anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania, or search for us online. I designed the website myself. Well, I'll take you up on that offer. Jones Graphic and Print. Company that, according to its website, has existed for some time. Website seems fancy and even has frames. Okay. Worked for the Stephanie Jones campaign, Roottrees Candy Company, Butler County Miracle Network, Roottrees Motors, the school district, the summer theater. They also do web design. Come on in to get a quote today. Okay. What happens if I specify campaign? Okay. Miracle Network. Production company by the Miracle Roottrees Estate. It's quite bare bones, but has the following blurb. Witness the testimonies of the Miracle's Roottree. Miracle Roottrees arrived so late in his mother's life that the doctors swore he wouldn't survive his first year. His mother and father, Elias and Gwyneth, named him Miracle because they thought him impossible. He was younger than his brothers and sisters by over 14 years. Jesus. With a birth that late, the final child of his generation was nearly torn apart by countless health problems. Still, with the power of God on his side, he persevered. Triumphed over these complications and even regained his sight to spread the healing word of the Almighty. Oh boy. 23 years later, Miracle Roottrees Jr. arrived and became the famous family's second vessel for the higher power. At 18, he unburdened himself from the Roottrees name and took his father's testimony to a whole new level. Via the power of television, Miracle Jr. spread the gospel across the entirety of New England. They're fucking televangelists. Oh, God. Since left the life of glamour and glitz behind to reach the places that need it most. The power of the Lord coming to a town near you. Okay, and we got a flyer from that. Okay, we can confirm then that this is Miracle. And then his son would be Miracle Jr., which I believe was one of the notable names here. And one would assume that it would be Miracle the Third. Is Televangelist on here? Okay. What we got religious-wise? Baby. Preacher, I suppose. Yeah, I think that's the only, religious job listed, so we'll just have that. That's certainly okay. Miracle Root Tree. Okay, that redirects to here. Miracle Jr. Doesn't go by his full name in promotional materials, shortened to Miracle Jr. Televangelist, part of the Miracle Network. According to a website called Clergy Watch, he was exposed and subsequently charged with conspiracy to defraud the public in 1979 when he claimed to heal someone in a wheelchair. Oh god, a news expose revealed it was his wife Edith's sister in a disguise. Author also mentions that Edith had a bit of a checkered past herself, but doesn't clarify. Well, we know that her name is Edith. There's only one listed there. Citizens lost his television show, instead goes on a tour around the southern US, where he was not well known before the scandal. Oh boy. What was her last name there? Jacobson? Edith Jacobson? Find a link that seems to be a partial and corrupted list of archive files from the Butler County Times. Cut off, but it mentions Edith Jacobson and an arrest. Might be able to find it somewhere else. Boy, oh boy, do I know where I'm looking. Crime Blotter article about Edith Jacobson that also mentions a Helen Roottrees and a Lucinda Jacobson. When she was 18, Edith and her sister Lucinda were arrested for trespassing at the Miracle Congregation's church in Butler County. They were pretending to be church employees in an attempt to get into the room where the church houses their weekly tithings. Church did not press charges. Caught by Helen Roottrees, who was there at the time while her husband Miracle was away preaching, Helen quoted as saying, "Jesus forgives and so do we. The Lord works in mysterious ways and I am confident he has brought these young women to us for a greater purpose." So her name would be Helen Lennon. As that last name there. We'll just double check. Figured. Okay. Miracle Congregation. Miracle Congregation Church. Take that over to Butler County Times. Okay, okay. I mean, we can also double check Lucinda Jacobson. Yeah, I figured not. Yeah. That's pretty much what I figured. Clergy Watch I wanted to look up. Okay, nothing else. Miracle Roottrees Estate. Okay. Well, we got the Miracle Network then. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay, okay. I wanted to double check over here. Yeah, Miracle Jr. was one of the people listed on here. Let's see here. That's the new one. Oh boy. Witness the power of the Lord in the summer '96. 3 generations of miracles on tour, featuring testimony from the world-famous Miracle Jr. and a special appearance from Miracle Roottrees in his 69th year on God's earth. Children now welcome, celebrate with your pastor Miracle III and his wife Nicole. Okay. Miracle III here would be Nicole. We have Madsen and Smith. We've narrowed it down to 2 women. Ba-ba-bum. Miracle Jr., who's said to be world famous and gets top billing. Miracle Roottrees, who the flyer says will make a special appearance. Okay. So Miracle the Third here seems like he... preacher, not pastor. There we go. We have those guys at the very least. Okay. It's so silly, I love it. Ba-ba-bum. Alright. I think I had more on here I wanted to look up. Yes, I wanted to continue with the Jones graphic and print sort of line of thought here. Roottrees Motors. Okay, as a local business listed in other places, let's try the Butler County Times here. Ad for them in the paper. So it used to be called Wilkins Motors. Okay. It's run in every week's Butler County Times for many years, but recently has been changed to include a picture. 3 different unique versions of the ad have been added to mere evidence. Let's try Wilkins Motors. Okay. You don't feel that the older ads are relevant, though why the name changed would have changed might be? I assume so. I assume there might have been like a marriage into the family. Ba-ba-bum. Okay, let's go with Butler County School District. Okay, figured not, but you know. Butler Summer Theater. Performs musicals and plays during the summer. As it's not currently summer, they just have a thank you message on there. List the credits of a musical here. Seems to be the final show they performed last season. Cast list, none of the names are relevant. Below the cast list, the crew. 2 things stand out. Okay, we've already gotten that. And choreography by November Studios. November Studios. Local dance school, they advertise lessons for jazz and ballet classes, hardly any other things available. Well, if it's local, instead of November Studios, maybe they should have called this place No Mention Studios, because you can't find any information about it anywhere. Nice thought, though. Well, okay. At least we tried. Okay. I did also want to look up Children of Eden. Musical with songs by Steven Schwartz. Okay. A game designer by the name of Jeremy Johnson really likes it. And realized it could kind of fit timeline-wise with the game he was making and decided to use it instead of something fake as kind of an Easter egg. I realized that when you listed that it was a real... I was like, oh, Steven Schwartz, the guy who did Wicked? Oh yeah, that's a real name. You don't need to check it out, but if you do, I like the songs The Hardest Part of Love and Lost in the Wilderness. Also, if you haven't already, you should hit the back button to go back to Jones Graphic and Print. Instead of searching for Children of Eden, you should probably search for whoever was performing it. Alright. Well, let me double check here. Jones Graphic and Print. Yeah, Butler Summer Theater here. Well, that just leads me... That just leads me here, which the only thing it has is that and then November Studios, which I couldn't find anything about. Let me double check them at Business Watch. Yeah, I figured. Okay. CM. Okay. Let's look at the Roottrees Motors ads. Roottrees Motors ad that ran from 74 to 77. Advertises that the former name of Roottrees Motors was Wilkins Motors. Still the same family business, but has now joined the Roottrees family. You may have a new name, but we promise we're still the same family business. All that's different is we've joined a sweeter family. Okay, yeah. Funny noises, need new oil, come on down, we'll fix her up. How the fixer said 555, fix her up. Right off the I-72, take exit 23. Okay, and the 77 to 95. The local family mechanic. Come on down, we'll fix her up. Same thing here. Local family mechanic servicing the entire Pittsburgh area. Here we are here. Tessa Roottree. Our newest fixer learned all there is to know about cars from her Roottrees Motors parents. Your local family mechanics for 50 years. Okay, first appeared in 96. Says Roottrees Motors have been around for 50 years, is a family business, and also that Tessa Roottree, their newest fixer, learned all there is to know about cars from her Roottrees Motors parents. It makes it sound like both of her parents were mechanics. Not sure who they would be though, so I'll leave it off for now. Not sure how they're connected. And alright, let's see here. We looked up everyone on here. We've not looked up Lauren. Let's look up Lauren. Author Lauren Roottree, a distant relative of the Roottree sisters, is known for her book A Life Between Wars. Saying that she's a relative of the Roottree sisters makes it sound... Oh, wait a second. According to a website about famous authors, in the early 1960s, she released a few romance novels under her married name, Lauren Rafferty. Rafferty here. So this would be Lauren here, then. Rafferty. Either Chris or Jacob. Well, she's an author. Anyway, back to this. When her publisher learned she had been keeping diaries about her famous family, they insisted she release them under her original name, Lauren Roottree, to take advantage of her family's notoriety. The selection of diary entries, released in '65 as A Life Between Wars, spans from the untimely death of her husband in World War II to coping with the post-war world as a young widow and mother, as well as her perspectives on changing times and socialites all the way through the entry into Vietnam. While the content is not considered particularly relevant to modern audiences, it has found new life as an exercise in high school English classes to show an evolution in writing style and for a look into life in previous generations. After the success of her diaries, her publisher re-released her romance novels under the name Lauren Roottree. This included Romance in Court, which gained popularity. She followed the re-release up by writing 2 new sequels, creating what fans refer to as the Court Jester series. You'll find no recent details about Lauren, though. She is listed as retired. Okay. I mean, I'm really intrigued by the Court Jester series. Romance in the Court is by her. First and most famous of 3 books called Court Jester series. Different romance told by the same narrator. You can probably surmise the narrator's profession. The other 2 books were called these. Some popularity when they were released in the 60s, aren't in high demand now, though. Well, I mean, I'll be looking at them in the public library, but I'll be doing that after the ad break. Chat, hourly self-care check-in time. Please fix your posture, take your meds, save your files, unclench your jaw, feed your pets, charge your devices, do some stretches. Please take care of yourself, alright? The game is going to be paused. I'm not going to be doing anything. You won't miss out on any cool deductions. Nothing like that. Don't worry about it. Just take a moment to please take care of yourself. It's very important. I'm doing some stretches myself now. Wow. That's the noise of me stretching. I go bwah. That's a lie. I don't always go bwah. And sometimes I go bwah when I'm not stretching. But it is always fun to make a noise. I highly recommend making a noise. If you haven't made a noise in a while, I highly recommend just making a weird noise, especially if you're in public. Or at least, you know, if you're around other people. Pasta water, that I can do. I've been watering fairly regularly. I know how it goes on a game that's as talk-heavy as these. Beep bop boop. My throat made a weird noise, but I doubt that it got caught on... I was gonna say on camera. It would have been on mic. Mike Deltarune. This game is really fun. I love it. God, it's so good. It's so fun. I love puzzle. I love finding things. I love searching. It really scratches an itch, you know? It's exactly what I needed it to be. I love puzzles. I want I want like 20 more of these games. You know? Like in this style, it's so fucking good. I need them on my desk now, Peter Parker. Give me more pictures of Spider-Man, as well as cool games that are like this. I love them. I love puzzles. I love figuring shit out. I love having to have a notes thing on screen for 90% of the game. Oh, I'm living my life. Oh. There's a part of me that's like making mental notes like, okay, at some point, I go to Spider Search and I search up every single person's name just to double check. And then I go to periodicals and I go through all of those and I search every name and on every magazine. And my brain is just like doing that. I'm like, I can't do that. That will take me 1,000,000 years. Hello? Okay, wait. I got my microphone got muted. Hello? That wasn't a stream blip. That's it's like I like how my mod must have been to start streaming. Yeah, I've been trying as soon as the power went out. Artificer got first right there. Okay, so sound alerts are not currently working. I don't have the first noise on my soundboard. Let me try my soundboard. Soundboard still works. So any other redeem, I'll get on that. I'm like, do I change the redeem that changes every time I go? Oh, there we go. Why isn't chat appearing on screen? Oh! As soon as I call it out! As soon as I called it out, it appeared! That was scary! That was scary! Well, I hope that this game has a good, like, autosave feature. Boy, oh boy. Boy, in fact, oh boy. It's you, you're the scary. Well, unfortunately, I can't, like, if not speedrun. Yeah, there's about to be 3 minutes of ads yet again. I'm so sorry. This isn't my way of doing it. This isn't my way of, getting extra ad rev. Don't worry about that. Okay, one second.
No, it's wrong.
Anytime I see somebody saying an alert, I have to do it manually. Hopefully that'll be fine by the time we do this again. I need to get, like, everything back up again, because I truly, like, as soon as I had power back, I was going. Literally, the power cut out for, like, 5 seconds. And then, like, I was like, okay, the power came back on, but the internet wasn't back. I was like, come on, let me add it again. Let me go back for it. So I gotta, like, double check everything. More of an 8? Sure. It's more so that I was gonna say 10, but I was like, 10 is too many. You know? Okay, let's see here. I gotta pull the game back up. That's something I gotta do. Broke ass city can't pay their energy bill. True. Mean. I can't believe they would do this to me specifically. I'm pulling up the game to see what the situation is. What the game situation. For some reason it's no longer in full screen. There we go. The situation from the Jersey Shore? Oh boy. Okay. The ads are still going, so I'm not gonna start anything yet. I'll come along with me here to the where's the button that I'm looking? Oh, did I already hit the button? There we go. Pasta water, that I can do. 1 second, I'll play this noise as well. Okay, it seems that the model redeems aren't also working. 1 second. Let me do those manually as well. Mustache, jacket, there we go. I forget the state that I was in before I left. I never pay much attention to that. Put on your stash and strip, funny boy. Boy, oh boy. What a time. And I gotta do the fucking, capture... That's the wrong thing. Capture Roottrees Are Dead. Okay, so that's a tail redeem. And then a booba redeem. There we go. Give me a second. I'm gonna go to the BRB screen up. Let me see if I can, turn the, Twitch settings off and on again. There, yeah, it disconnected my account. Give me a second. Yes, you can. I'm authorizing VTube Studio to use my Twitch. There we go. And then I have to click the second hidden button. There we go. But my Stream Deck isn't working, so I have to switch scenes manually. But I believe that you guys should be able to redeem stuff on my body again. I'm gonna unplug and replug my Stream Deck 1 second. I don't know if that'll make a noise. I think it did. See if that worked. Why the fuck did it mute me? What process? At what point in the process did that happen? Wait a second, let me test them. So I do have a mute button on my Stream Deck, and I can mute myself, but I can't unmute myself right now. When I replugged my Stream Deck. Boy oh boy. I don't know. I'm just gonna hope that it'll be normal tomorrow, and if it's not normal tomorrow, then I'll fuck around with it, you know? Let's get back into it. Let's get gaming. Let's see what happened. Let's see how things are going, right? We gotta hope. We gotta hope, right? Pop those balloons like one of those satisfying stim videos. Okay, what was I doing when I left off? Okay. I believe I was researching... Let me pull up my notes. I was looking at the books that woman... I was looking at the romance books. Woo! Our notes on the romance books are still in here. Okay, thank goodness. I just wanted that message again. Romance in court. Okay. Over to the public library. Searching Lauren Roottree. We'll start off with a... No, let's start off with a romance. Romance in court. Okay. Published in '68, softcover fiction romance. About the author blurb mentions that she had the inspiration from one of her brother Clancy's lectures on the Middle Ages. Okay, so we know that some guy named Clancy is her brother. Like, do we have anybody named Clancy yet? If I just click on somebody. We have Clancy Edward, but it's not gonna be that. There is a Clancy Jr. Assumingly Clancy Edward is going to have Clancy Jr. Yeah, because we know that Lauren here. So one of these people is going to be Clancy Jr. Okay. We have Romance in Court. The other two books are... I didn't mean to get rid of her name. The other two are Return to Court. Not the court, just Return to Court. Nothing new there. New Romance in Court. Lauren returns to the Middle Ages with the last chapter in the Court series. The About the Author blur... Okay, same. We're looking at now A Life between wars. Seems you've hit the jackpot here. This is a book occasionally taught in schools. You even find a hardcover edition for students that has full-page, high-quality pictures in it. We're getting a lot of downloads from this. A summary of the contents of the book, photos, as well as some particularly relevant entries from the diary have been added to your evidence. We have 10 evidence now. Oh, sheesh. You alright? I believe that's that there. I guess we should look at maybe this stuff first? I don't know. Start off here. What is this? Photo has a note attached from the employer. Here's a bonus. When I pulled the water damage photo of the free spirits out of the frame, this fell out too. Written on the back of the photo is, couldn't make the reunion, wishing you well from Paris, Gwyn and the boys. Okay. We know of Gwyn. We've heard of Gwyn before. Now, do I remember who Gwyn is? That's a problem for me to take better notes and double check things and search around about, you know? Like, I don't believe Gwyn is somebody that we have, like, fully... Yeah, we've heard her name, but we've not written her anywhere. Okay. Shiva candle. This photo was tucked inside an envelope with a letter beneath a candle in the corner of his office. The letter says, "To Carl and Brenda, I'm sorry that you were unable to attend the funeral. It's traditional to have it as soon as possible, and Ernie, more than anyone else on Earth, knew how busy your job can be. I've enclosed a Shiva candle identical to ours if you'd like to pay your respects, though it's not expected for those outside the faith to do so. Ernie was a man full of love, not only for his family, but for his family's legacy. He had an immense pride of work for the work you three did together, as well as how Carl has carried on for him after taking over. As for myself, it is impossible to express my gratitude enough for rescuing us from the panic and burden of endless bills. Though we caught it too late for him to get on the donor list, the company took care of us beyond our wildest expectations. It went unsaid at the time, but Ernie and I knew it had to have been Carl that convinced the trust, and that no coincidence that it happened shortly after your visit, Brenda. Up until the end, Ernie and I had to stay strong, especially for Nicole's sake. We could never have done that without the two of you fighting for us. Much love, Debbie." Okay. We know that Ernie is the guy who took over... Wasn't Ernie on the notable list? No. Okay. I really thought he would be. Well, we know that he was his grandson, I believe. Alright. I'll leave that for now. Okay, oh, here's the 5 pieces. Oh, that's lovely to have. Is that little miracle? Lauren's diary contains some labeled pictures. This is the 5 pieces. Caption: this picture was famous in our house. Pop even had it framed. That's him on the left. It was taken in 1935 to celebrate the move to the new warehouse that Eli Jr. designed. Interesting. Angie and I both wanted to be in the photo since Miracle was in it, and the 3 of us were all about the same age. We were told only the 5 pieces, which really didn't go over well, to say the least. Eventually, I suppose to stop the tantrums, they posed us in front of the camera with Mr. Morden, who was there with Aunt Gwendolyn. I found out years later that they never even took a second photo. Damn! Alright. Now, I would have assumed that Pop was, like, short for, like, their grandfather, but... Would Pop be a nickname of some sort? Pop. Being on the left there. Okay, if we look at this... The only person we don't have a name for is Melon. So this would be Roottree, M. And it would have to be a boy. Right? And we're not seeing anybody but Marguerite, but no, it wouldn't have to be a boy. Because if we look at that photo here, yeah, 2 of them are girls, so it would be Marguerite. Okay, because I'm guessing Miracle would be this one since he's baby. Okay, yep. Which ones did I get that were correct? Is it the Miracles? It's the Miracles! What a miracle! Booyah! Do we have another miracle photo here? I don't believe so. Okay. Like, who did we... That was you that I got there. Or, no, it was you. I'm like, okay, do we have anybody who's like fully... I mean, aside from you, we gotta figure out what your fucking job is listed as. Okay. I don't know who Debbie is, anyway. I know we know that- I forget, it was like somebody took their... No, it was you, alright. No, it would be. No, sorry, I got your name confused. I thought it said James. I just remember somebody had taken, the last name of their wife, who was a Roottree. Anyway. We know that Gwendolyn is one of these two. We know that Elias would be one of these. Clancy Edward would also be one of these. Because we have... Who's got a more nickname of Pop? Clancy Edward or Elias Jr.? I mean, probably Elias Jr., right? Pasta water. I do appreciate the accompanying message. We'll put him. We'll do it this way around. We'll see if anything happens from that. Okay. Ba-ba. Angie. Hey, do we know where Lauren is? Lauren is here. Angie could be... Oh, she said Pop! It's gonna be her dad. Duh. Fucking duh. Alright. So Angie is gonna be one of these people, I assume. In the same generation here. Ba-ba-ba. Pose this in front of the camera with Mr. Morden, who is there with Aunt Gwendolyn. Yeah, Morden and Gwendolyn. Ba-ba-ba. I mean, Angie could be one of your kids, maybe? Yeah, Angelica. We don't know which of them it will be. I'm just gonna put both of them as Angelica. Am I allowed to do that? No. Okay. Alright. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay, oh my goodness. Alright. This photo has a note attached from your employer. Every 20 or so years, the Roottrees would hold a big reunion and recreate an old family photo. This one is from the 70s, and Carl's the teenager in the middle. Sorry about the water damage, a pipe burst in Carl's office. On the back of the photo, in childish print writing, it says November. Large number of cursive signatures. Include Bonnie, next president Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth M., Gwendolyn, Miracle Jr., Jim Roottree, Clark, Carl, and Eli M. We know Carl is the teen in the middle. He still looks a lot like himself as well. I saw Miracle Jr. There's no way of mistaking Miracle Jr. for... Okay, at least one of these two is Miracle Jr. No, this guy's listed as Eli. He's got his name literally on his fucking thing. He's literally wearing a name tag. Thank you, dude. For having— you may have the same haircut as that other guy, but you are wearing a shirt that has a name tag. Okay. There's not a kid named November, is it? That's probably who that is. You're November. Da-da-da. Okay. I want to compare and contrast the people in this image with the people in this. Because Gwendolyn is in both. So we have this, like, blonde woman, and this woman who's presumably, like, a brunette, looks a little bit more stern. Honestly, I don't see either of them. Like, it could be you, I don't know. Here we have the next generation. Lauren's diary contains some labeled pictures. This is the next generation. Caption: an attempt to recapture the spirit of the 5 pieces photo with our generation. So one of these is likely Lauren. For old time's sake, we gathered on the warehouse floor. I wanted Eli to stand all the way to the left, since to me he looked a lot like Pop did in the old one, but I was outvoted by my brothers. They insisted the 4 of us stand together, and so we clumped up in the middle, and I let everyone filter in behind and in front of us. The only one too good to make an appearance was Gwen. So that's her then. Since she's Lauren, the 4 of them are grouped together. And that's the one girl there, assumedly. So... that was you? Oh! I'm glad that I clicked right. I was about to go and double check. Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, yeah, I know Miracle Jr. anywhere. Whoa.
It's time for your headlines. Once an hour, every hour, on the 45. It's a bizarre development to an already tragic tale.
Oh no.
The accident that took his life. Some of Carl Roottree's belongings have apparently gone missing. Most notably, a framed photo of the Roottree family from the mid-1970s that Carl had on his office wall. We interviewed a local psychologist about who would do such a thing and why. For that article, Search online for WRTD News. Again,
WRTD
that's
News.
WRTD.
WRTD News. I gotta do that now. The capitalization doesn't matter. I don't know why I keep doing this. WRTD News is your local investigative jazz station. During their segments at 45 minutes on the hour. They've also been talking about the plane crash. This is the most recent hour. They've also talked about a picture taken from Carl's office about the plane crash and promised an interview online with a psychologist. There wasn't a break-in. Someone with a key to the office took the picture after discovering the pipes burst due to the recent storm. This means it was likely someone close to the family or who was aware of the photo's history and wanted to save it. However, a psychologist also goes on to posit they could have had an alternate agenda, specifically because nobody in the family has come forward to say that they have it in their possession. A comment below the article says, "Don't believe their lies. This is just another instance of the root tree curse being a real, true thing. I bet you Carl was murdered and the picture had evidence on it." There's a long, rambly conspiracy website with very small, very red text on a black background that says the root trees are cursed. It has been recently updated with the following. Important update. With Carl and Brenda and their girls, that makes 5 new deaths. Not only that, but 3 of the 5 presidents of the Roottrees Company have died mysteriously. They say Guy's car was hit by a drunk driver in 1982, but nobody was arrested. And then Ernie Madsen Jr. stepped down. Was he poisoned? Now just this week, Carl died in a plane crash. This cannot be a coincidence. There's another entry that claims if you connect the dots in the pattern of the 5 pieces wrapper, it creates a Mayan ruby skull, a secret message meant to subliminally scare people away. The post before that has a link to a site which talks about how Earth has 4 corners simultaneously 4-day time cubes. The author of this site seems to agree. An entry from a few months ago claims that the owner of the site received an email from chrisraff75 at prodigy.us asking him to take down his site with faked proof that Ernie Madsen Jr. actually had a heart condition and wasn't poisoned. The owner claims that although the proof looks quite credible, he knows the proof was fake because he's an expert at creating fake evidence. Wow. First entry is from 96. Blurry picture of the Roottrees Company factory seems to have been taken by the website author from behind a fence and through some trees. It seems that Operation RT-29 is real. I witnessed a helicopter land on February 29th, 1996. Website footer says all images and ideas by Thomas Overwood. Okay. So now we know how Guy died, and we also know that Guy was one of the presidents for sure. We got that idea from one of the photos, got it confirmed. Mayan ruby skull? You find a few conspiracy websites that claim the Mayan ruby skull is a symbol of death. The alleged proof is a blurry photo of a reddish shape that is supposedly a cave painting from South America. According to legend, discovered beneath the painting were bones from hundreds of different people and animals. One site also mentions the photographer who took the picture died when their boat capsized after crashing into a skull-shaped rock. Amongst the spinning skull gifs, you find no sources or verifiable details to back up any photos or claims. To you, the blurry photo looks more like an egg than a skull. See, now that sounds... If it looks more like an egg, now I'm just like, what if there's an egg? Now I get real conspiracy about this, and like, the plot twist is that there's an egg. There's gonna be aliens and their eggs everywhere. Da-da-da. Time cube? Nothing relevant. Wait. You begin to read the site and come to the conclusion that the words, "no relevant results," isn't a strong enough description for what you're seeing here. It's a massive column of technical terms that aren't real and confusing rants you can't find any meaning in. Regardless, it won't help your search. I figured, but good to know. I mean, we already know who Chris Rafferty is. That's one of the guys that we have confirmed, don't we? No, we don't. Never mind. I mean, that could be this guy. It's either gonna be Chris or Jacob, you know? We'll put him this way for now. And then, like... No, we'll put this one as Chris. And then this one as Jacob. And then next time we get them in, maybe we'll find out. Because if that one goes through, then we know. And if that one doesn't go through, then we also know, but we just have to reverse it. I'm sure we could find other information otherwise, but I'm just like, it's so easy to do. You know, I can't not. Okay, Operation... Sorry. Operation... God. It helps if your hand is correctly on the keyboard. RT29, that's an 8. You find more conspiracy websites. Some people out there claim the Roottrees are changing the candy recipe to include more and more chemicals, and that this was done in cooperation with bad actors from an unknown government. They claim that due to a loophole in the calendar, it's possible to get away with nearly any crime on a leap day so long as it isn't discovered until after the day is over, that every 4 years on a leap year, the Roottree Company hosts a meeting with foreign agents to conspire to poison our children. Their proof is that Roottree candies contain polyglycerol polyricinoleate, an ingredient of the candy that wasn't there when it was first released. An ingredient of they claim that it is added in an attempt to addict people and eventually induce mind control. The website claims to sell pills that counteract this effect for children that have already eaten Roottree candy in the past. You search for that chemical and it seems to be an emulsifier in chocolates approved by the FDA and widely used across many products. Yeah. Okay, Thomas Overwood. Few different sites about mysterious death and curses. In addition to the Roottree Curse website, you also find one about the truth behind Spirit Cola, which claims that Spirit really stands for Satan's plague is returning in 2000, and that in the year 2000 anyone who has drunk Spirit Cola will die. Another website is Stock Markets and the Devil's Numbers, which claims that if you multiply any stock's price by 666, then also multiply the current year by that same stock's price, then add those two numbers together and divide the entire total by the stock price, and finally subtract the current year, you'll always end up with 666. God. That... Oh, I got an achievement for looking into every conspiracy. Spirit Cola is a carbonated drink only found in the southern US. Comes in various flavors, including lemon, lime, and cherry. I mean, it's good to know. Okay. Let's look up Guy. We got Guy's last name before. What was it? I didn't mean to look at that. What did I look at there? Ba-ba-bum. Just double checking, Oh no, I didn't finish reading this, I don't think. Grandma insisted we include Sam even if we didn't want to. None of us understood why, including Sam. I also didn't think it fair Miracle made it in, since he's technically a 5-piece. I guess my inner child still holds a grudge even after all these years. Okay, so that's gonna be Miracle there, with the sunglasses. I mean, he's standing in front of that kid. Or that kid's standing in front of him, rather. So that's either going to be Miracle Jr. or Sam. It's like, we know that these other four around are going to be like that. Okay, let's put this guy as Miracle Jr. I don't know who Sam is. Let's see here. If I do this as Sam, there's Samantha and Cattrall. You look like somebody who didn't know that they were going to be in a photo. That's my guess. Ba-ba-bum. Guy Hudson. Fancy Flavors was an addition to the 5-piece product line for less than a year in 1979. It was Guy Hudson's first and historically most cited move as the president of Roottrees. In an attempt to cater more towards what he thought the average person wanted, Guy looked at his own wealth, which was often a source of envy for others, and decided to tap into the idea that if they added fancy flavors to 5-piece, anyone could live like the wealthy. This philosophy led to a flavor in 5 pieces that was meant to mimic caviar. 5 pieces sold less that year than it had in any other year, except in some foreign markets. It was quickly announced that caviar was meant to be a limited flavor and would go back to normal as soon as possible. Guy. Oh boy. Okay. I want to go back over to the periodicals, to the business, and try Guy Hudson. Along with his twin sister. Okay, are no strangers to the public when it comes to Roottrees snacks. They both appeared in the company's advertisements as children during the Boys and Girls Agree era. Now Guy is taking over the Roottrees company at the end of the year. Who would have known that those two adorable redheads, Guy credits his mother and father, Angie and Christopher, with providing his fiery due, arguing over everything but chocolate, would grow up to take over the whole company. Guy's uncle and current president, Zachariah, has decided to take an early retirement on traveling the world with his wife. Zach was quoted as saying, "Now that our daughters have started families of their own, Clara and I plan to reflect on a life well lived." Guy is new to the business world, but he's family. We at Roottrees have faith in his innovative ideas, and he's eager to share them with the world. We like to think that boys and girls agree that he's ready to succeed. Okay. Because we know... Okay. What's the order here? I know I wrote down at some point here, if I go... probably in the candy notes. Okay. We know that Ernie Jr. seemed to directly precede Carl. We know that it was first Elias. We know Carl is the 5th. God, I'm great at this. Elias to Zachariah. To Guy Hudson. To Ernie Jr. to Carl. That's how it is. And Zachariah is Guy's uncle. These guys don't have an uncle. This guy's uncle would be Miracle Jr. We're looking for who would be Guy and then Zachariah, I believe. So... could be you. Let me double check as well, alright. Guy and then Zachariah. You don't have any uncle, necessarily. Could be here, but you guys would have the Morden name, I believe, right? Yes. They're gonna be Angelica and Caroline, just don't know what order. So it could be there? I'm not sure. I'm not confident on it, so I don't wanna... Zach has a wife named Clara. No, it can't be you, because your mom's name is Joan. I mean, it could be you. That's another one that I'll just, like, put it like that, and if nothing happens by the time I, get the next 3 in there, you know? Guy is a redhead. So that means that you're a guy. No, he needs an uncle, and he also needs a sister. That's what... That needs to happen. Guy needs an uncle, but he doesn't have a sister here. No uncle here. No sister here. Theoretically, this could be... This is a... Theoretically, I guess. I don't understand. That one, it confuses me, the little weird X thing that's circling that. Ba-ba-bum. I mean, it's like you could be over here, but it just seems weird. I'll have to look into that later, I suppose. The whole how is Guy Hudson related. Okay. I know we're coming to the end of stream, and I'm gonna have to, like, get reacquainted back with all this again once I do that, but I want to do one more search, and I want it to be the boys and girls agree. What on earth is this? You find a site about successful ad campaigns. One of the ads listed is from the late 50s, Boys and Girls Agree. It's a series of television and magazine ads for Roottrees chocolate bars. The ad campaign is described as having the premise that boys and girls are often diametrically opposed, except when it comes to one thing. Both of them agree that Roottrees is their favorite. The advertisement of the series was the most memorable. The first advertisement was the most memorable due to the bright red hair of the boy and girl involved. One of the magazine advertisements has been added to your evidence. There they are there. Just a quick... yeah. I'll get more reacquainted with all of this when I come back tomorrow. That, the unexpected, bit there of, you know, just all of the, the internet happening, you know? That, threw me off a little bit of my rhythm. Can't help that. But okay, chat. I think it's about time that I look and see who we can raid, shall we? Blip bloop. Blip bloop indeed. Let's see here. Beep bop boop biddy bop badoo. Many people live. Checking, seeing, observing them. We haven't rated Emery in a while, probably because he hasn't been live in a while, but you know. Let's go rate Emery. He's playing Metroid Prime. When the Metroids are Prime. I don't know anything about Metroid. I know that you're Samus and you shoot at aliens. And Samus is a girl, but that's a secret. It's a plot twist. One of the oldest plot twists in gaming, I suppose. Is it even a plot twist? I don't know if that counts or not, you know? I don't know what the definition of plot twist is. But yeah. I really love this game. Roottrees Are Dead is so fucking good, and I'm so excited to keep playing it. Yeah! Alright, I will see you all when I see you all. I feel like I gotta check, like, everything. Okay, yes, I had a moment of fear of, like, what if my microphone changed to, like, my webcam mic instead of the mic that I actually use? I'm like, okay, it's all good. Woo! Okay. I will see you all when I see you all. Continuing this game tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody. Go and raid Emery. Have a good time. Whee!